for EPLAN USA. We're very pleased to have you visit our virtual booth here at the Automation Fair at Home, the first ever virtual Rockwell Automation Fair. You know, last year we were pleased to have the announcement that EPLAN had joined as a founding member Rockwell's Digital Partner Program. And this year we've lined up a lot of material to help you explore how EPLAN might help you with your automation needs. Some of this material is recorded, some of it's live, but all day, every day, we have people ready to answer questions via live chat or set up one-on-one meetings, however you would like to interface with us. I want to draw particular attention to some of the panel discussions we put together. That's with customers. Some of our customers you can hear directly from. Some of our partners that we've engaged with, including Rockwell and some of Rockwell's distribution channel partners that we're engaged with now, as well as a member of our cloud team where you can hear how we're approaching cloud solutions here at EPLAN. You know, this is set up for you to discover how this fits your individual, your team goals, your corporate goals, for increasing efficiencies and how you execute automation solutions. We believe we can deliver value to you, whether an initial concept, through the engineering, onto design build, even in the runtime maintenance. We actually have a demonstration we can show with one of Rockwell's other digital partners, PTC, that shows a very interesting use case with the combined technology of all three organizations that I believe you'll see that there's some unique and thought-provoking ideas behind that. It's operational now, and so I invite you to take a look and see if it's something of interest to you. So we're here for you. We invite you to explore, and we look forward to hearing from you. Enjoy the show, and hope to talk to you soon.
Hola, soy Luis Olvera, director de EPLAN para México e Hispanoamérica. Me es un placer darle la bienvenida a este Rockwell Automation Fair. En EPLAN, lo más importante es satisfacer a nuestros clientes ayudándolos en la reducción de costos, tiempos y mejora de sus procesos. Espero disfruten toda la información preparada para ustedes. Cuídense y no olviden visitar nuestro booth. Hasta luego.
Hello and welcome to the Rockwell Automation Fair event at home. My name is Zoltan Tenier. I'm a director with EPLAN and I work with multiple teams across North and South America. Today I would like to talk to you about our integrated value chain, a concept that we truly believe enables becoming digital for companies in the ecosystem of industrial automation today. As a digital partner of Rockwell, we believe that every company should have a concept to implement digital workflows. The concept I'm going to speak about today is called integrated value chain. It starts with the engineering process. Second step is the sourcing, then the manufacturing, and finally the operations. That's hopefully exactly the same process you experience in your daily work. And now I will speak about the details about this concept. The digital transformation has really taken off. It has changed not only the way we obtain information and communicate, but also our consumption habits and production methods. Panel building and switchgear manufacturing companies are driving the digital transformation in a number of areas. Some production and organizational processes have already been digitized, but the complexity of many production systems is preventing a rapid transition in some cases. The vast majority of people we are talking to on a daily basis envisions a more advanced level of digitalization. Ignoring the digital revolution has now become impossible. As you are well aware, the topics of becoming digital, automating workflows, and last but not least, standardization are truly important to become digital. Let's talk about the engineering process to start this discussion. Let's take a look at the value chain step engineering. The engineering process usually starts with collecting data for the specifications and design phase. Unfortunately, designers are facing various data sources at the beginning. which makes it challenging to create a high-quality digital twin. This high-quality digital twin, however, is a key success factor for a streamlined work preparation and documentation process. So let's talk where our data are coming from and how we enrich them in the EPLAN platform. The EPLAN data portal is a high-quality engineering data source where engineers and technical designers can download and use component data, for example from Rockwell Automation, via drag and drop. If your ecosystem or internal departments, like sales, are not using EPLAN data today, our database-driven platform will allow you to import various native data formats such as DWG, DXF, and Excel lists. Our R&D teams are currently working high speed on importing data from other tools with artificial intelligence technologies to make this process even faster and more convenient for our EPLAN ecosystem. Once you have the great data, you can use it to create a digital twin because you have a data-driven process. So you can use exactly the same data you have used before in our expert engineering software EPLAN Pro panel. So here you can see from generating circuit diagrams, assembly layouts to fully production integration, we can have it all in this software package. In the next step of manufacturing, I will also talk about how much impact this approach can have in terms of time, cost, and quality. I think also for you, it becomes more and more important to not only find the right product, but also the digital information of these products. So let's talk about the step of sourcing so that we can show you how you really can enable a digital workflow for this step in our integrated value chain. Modern ECAD systems are not isolated solutions. The deep integration into the customer's IT infrastructure makes it possible to transfer automatically generated bill of materials for quotation and material procurement into pre-existing ERP systems. Of course, our customers do not have a greenfield. Everybody has already pre-existing ERP and PDM systems to maintain technical and economical data. So here our EPLAN portfolio offers an integration suite. This integration suite streamlines the process into your pre-existing ERP, PDM, and PLM systems. This enables more transparency in your product development process. Just imagine everybody in your ecosystem speaks the same language and shares the same information, always up to date and live available in the cloud. For companies in the ecosystem of industrial automation, the manufacturing process is where they spend most of the time and resources. So let's take a look into how we can streamline this process through our digital workflow. So as you can see here, we break down the manufacturing process into 7 sub-steps. And the good news is that EPLAN offers a proven concept that is backed up by a study conducted by a university in Germany that shows that we can decrease the manufacturing time in each and every step, totaling in a time reduction of up to 60% on the shop floor. We make this happen because, again, we use the same data from the previous work step of engineering. These high-quality data can directly be imported and used, for example, for CNC machines or to feed your people on the shop floor with a 100% digital-based wiring information. Our tool, Smart Wiring, enables this 100% digital workflow. It shows you from where to where your worker has to wire, what is the diameter, the size, the treatment of the ferrules, All this information you can have available on a tablet. If in case of revisions, of course, EPLAN enables also a fully digital workflow. To monitor the performance of your team, feel free to use the Smart Wiring Operations Monitor. Now we have discussed the engineering, sourcing and manufacturing processes in a digital workflow. But what is the most important part for the end customer or the end user in the ecosystem of industrial automation? Of course, it is the operations. So let's take a look how we can help you to reduce downtime, have a predictable maintenance process, and truly become digital in the step of operations. Let's talk about the operations and how this has an impact on our integrated value chain. I spoke about producing millions of cars before, but also I don't want to exclude you if you're producing continuous goods, so if you're in the process automation world. What do you need today to enable a streamlined operations workflow? Of course, first and foremost, if you want to ramp up a machine, it's all about supplier management. And I know supplier management is one of the most time-consuming tasks if you work in operations. So think about a concept where EPLAN can offer you data access via the cloud, and it's possible even for non-EPLAN users to make changes, revisions with redlining in the cloud. All of this is available through the web browser with our tool EPLAN eView. It's already available today in our EPLAN platform, so feel free to use this and become digital today. Thank you very much for your attention today. I hope you enjoyed the integrated value chain of EPLAN. I would like to offer you, of course, today to reach out here to our staff on the booth with all the questions you might have. In addition to this, we are available on social media and you can reach my colleagues across the globe through our webpage. Feel also free to leave me a message on LinkedIn if you get a chance. We offer a concept to put the integrated value chain into action today in your business, regardless if you're a small, medium-sized system integrator, OEM, or panel builder, or if you're a large operator who produces millions of cars. We have a concept to assess your current as-is situation and provide you with a concept to become digital today in terms of engineering, sourcing, manufacturing, and operations. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day at the Rockwell Automation Fair event 2020 at home. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sean Mulheron, I am the product manager for EPLAN Pre-Planning, EPLAN Fluid, and EPLAN Electric P8. We hope you are enjoying Rockwell Automation Fair at home. And today I will be giving you an overview on our EPLAN solutions and how these solutions can help you design your control systems as efficiently and quickly as possible. Please feel free to ask questions in the chat and we'll go over those right away. Thanks again for joining us, and let's go ahead and get started. Thanks again for joining us, and let's go ahead and get started.
My name is Sean Mulheron. I've been with EPLAN since 1993, started at Viches & Partner in 93 in Germany, and in 2000 moved to our division here in the US, at the time in Brookfield, Wisconsin, and then eventually moved to Detroit to support the automotive industry. And since 2013, I've been part of the product management team, and I'm now responsible for EPLAN Electric P8, EPLAN Fluid, and EPLAN Pre-Planning. So the goal of today's presentation is to give you an overview of where EPLAN is and how our products can help you make your engineering process and design more efficient. So let's get started. So the EPLAN solutions. First of all, how does the landscape look like in our manufacturing process? Well, if we look at the ecosystem of industrial automation, there are multiple different players typically involved in the creation of products and services. We have the component manufacturer that provides the individual components like Rockwell or Siemens or Schneider or ABB. They would provide the components to control the machines. You have Rittal or Hoffman to provide the various different control cabinets to store all of those components. These components are used by the panel builder to assemble the panels. These panel builders carry all of the control or most of the control equipment for machines and systems that are used by OEM and system integrators, and they put systems together for the end user operator to build a product, whether you're building a car, whether you're building a TV, whether you're building any type of component. In that ecosystem, there are multiple different players, and these players need to work together to be able to create the end result. And today, if you look at the different tools used at the different stages of design and engineering, you'll notice that there are many, many different tools used. You'll have Word documents, you'll have Excel sheets, you'll have AutoCAD files, you'll have Visio files. Depending on what CAD tools you use, you'll have different types of files available. And all of this information needs to be transferred between the various different players. So if we look at the engineering process, typically an operator will start with a specification saying, I need to build this product, this is what are my requirements, this is the kind of space I have, these are the factories that are available, and you can start identifying the requirements. Then you will start with the general planning of the system, identifying, okay, what are the requirements to put that product together. Then you might send this information off to an OEM or a system integrator to start putting the machines and systems together. This is where the EPLAN project as such gets created. The system integrator or the OEM will create an EPLAN project and will start capturing some controls documentation, some controls data. This information then gets detailed. So now we're going into the detail engineering, whether you're doing pneumatics, whether you're doing electric, you're defining all of your wires, your terminals, all of the details specific to your control system and capturing that in your schematics, enriching the EPLAN project. Then you need to build a panel for that particular project. So the project is sent to a panel builder, and the panel builder can store or align or insert all those components in an enclosure, and at the same time using the EPLAN project, enriching the data with topics like ProPanel and creating a virtual twin of your control cabinet. Then you'll have the sourcing aspect where he will be ordering parts from the various component manufacturer to lay out his control cabinet. And finally, he has to use all of the data that he's created for the control cabinet design to build that cabinet, whether it's drilling the back plates, whether it's cutting the DIN rails to the right length, whether it's cutting the wires to the right length, wiring everything up, and making sure everything works. And then the project is sent back to the system integrator so he can plug everything into the machine and make sure that everything works, the commissioning aspect. And as you go along those various different steps, the EPLAN project gets enriched with data and you are adding more and more information to the project. And finally, once the project is complete, you're going to install that system at the OEM, at the end user operator, and you're going to make sure it's running correctly. So now the project of EPLAN is complete. This is when you can combine that information and upload that project into the cloud. So we have an environment like ePulse where you could store your project and every participant in that project could easily access the project, visualize the project, and use it for redlining if needed. So the end user operator could use it for maintenance, where if there was a fault in the machine while it was running, he could quickly have access to the project information, locate that information, and make sure that he can fix the problem at hand. So that's the ecosystem of industrial automation as we see it from an EPLAN perspective, where component manufacturers, panel builders, OEM system integrators, and operators work together on the same project, on the same platform, sharing the same data. How does this EPLAN project get created? This EPLAN project gets created using the EPLAN solutions. So if you look at the center of this image, you'll see a red bar at the bottom, which is a data storage entity. It's like a database, and that will store all of your control systems data specific to your machine, to your system. And this picture illustrates the various different aspects or tools used for engineering process. So the mechanical engineering starts up where you find tools like 3D modeling tools. You'll have Pro-E, you'll have PTC Creo now, you'll have SolidWorks, CATIA, NX, all of those various different 3D tools to create the mechanical aspect. But without controls, that mechanical model won't move, won't create movement. So therefore, all of the controls aspect is everything you see in red, where you'll use tools like pre-planning to design some basic engineering topics. You'll use P8 to design some control engineering, ProPanel to do some control panels. And then finally, you have the software engineering aspect to program all of that system and make sure that it runs correctly. Down below, you'll find ERP PDM systems. So every company has ERP systems or PDM systems, and we need to integrate or interface information to those systems. And up top, you'll have topics that you'll find in the cloud, like our data portal, which contains parts that you can use in your engineering, eBuild to generate schematics, and eView to visualize the schematics and also create different redlining workflows to enhance your workflow. This information is used to generate the EPLAN project. So you work on a common data model, whether you're working in your process engineering, whether you're working in your fluid power engineering or electrical engineering, and at the end you have your EPLAN project. So let's take a look at those individual solutions a little bit more in depth. Let's start with EPLAN pre-planning. EPLAN pre-planning is the tool that we use up front for capturing information early on in the stage. We can use pre-planning in the world of process engineering. So if you need to design PFDs or P&IDs, process instrumentation diagrams or process flow diagrams, EPLAN provides libraries that you can easily use to place all of the symbols on a sheet and connect everything together and already capture your control equipment for process systems. You can also do your plant cabling if necessary to start laying out all of the cables that are needed up front to be routed in trenches, for example, during the building process. You can also structure the data, and that's a very important aspect of EPLAN, is the capability to structure your information. Today, a lot of users use Excel sheets to capture all of their instrumentation, to capture all of their actuators, all of their sensors. However, Excel is not a structuring tool, it's just a capturing tool. So if you want to see how many items you've got in a specific section, you have to use filters, sorting items, and you have to kind of organize the data within the Excel sheet. Here you have a clear view of how your system or plant or process is organized, and you can capture different structures, you can capture different objects and lay them out in a very organized fashion so you can easily recognize them and find them and work with them. Then you can also generate documentation directly out of the system, such as data sheets. If you need to order temperature sensors, pressure sensors, flow sensors from a manufacturer, and you need to identify what are the parameters, what are the minimum values, the maximum values, what are the environmental considerations that are needed for those particular devices, all of that can be generated into a data sheet and sent to the manufacturer to provide you with the right components. So these types of documents can be generated automatically. Cable pre-planning, as I mentioned, you can also pre-plan your cables, meaning that upfront you need to know how many sensors around in one area of your plant you'll have and where is your DCS system so you can run all of your cables. So those are typically topics that are done early on in your engineering phase, and these can also be captured in EPLAN pre-planning. Important as well is the quote and estimate type of document needed. You need to be able to understand a system, how much is it going to cost, and also how long is it going to take to build. Well, pre-planning can capture not only the controls objects, but all of your objects that are needed for quoting and planning, and it can summarize all those values. So you can see in a sheet here a summary of your complete system, identifying the amount of inputs and outputs and signals needed for that system, and also the amount of time needed for planning, construction, software, as well as the total cost. So these are just examples of how quickly and early on in the process you can use pre-planning for quoting purposes. EPLAN pre-planning can also be used in the building automation environment. If you have systems like air handling units or HVAC systems, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, you can easily plan and design those systems in pre-planning up front, and from there you can derive all of the control systems for those various different systems. So it's a tie-in between pre-planning from a building perspective and also EPLAN Electric P8 for controlling that particular building. So there's an aspect of P&ID as well for all of your water and wastewater system within a building that can all be linked together for building automation. This is what a drawing could look like from a design perspective, where you capture all of your sensors, your measuring devices, you capture your filters, your fans, your ventilators, your air conditioning systems to cool and heat the air which coming from the outside all the way into the building, and identify the control system needed for it. You can also use architectural layouts. So if you have tools like AutoCAD or Autodesk Revit, you could export information from Revit in an Excel file format and import that data into EPLAN so that you could identify all the control systems and start planning all of your wiring diagrams and your control panels in EPLAN. So we can work together with those different types of systems. You can again structure your data. So here you have a clear view of your building. You can see which level or which floor you're in, if you're in the basement on the first floor, and then which room, and then which area of that room you're talking about. And for each area, each zone, each specific level, you can capture all of the sensors, all of the actuators needed for your particular building system. So a very easy way to capture your control system. EPLAN pre-planning can also be used for OEM and system integrators. You can use a blank canvas to start laying out graphically your mechanical system. So in an example of a conveyor system, you can put your different segments of your conveyor, and as you lay out your system graphically, you will also be capturing a structure of your system. But not only just a location structure, you'll also be identifying all of the actuators and sensors of that particular system. So again, right there up front in the planning phase, you can start understanding how many motors you will need, how many IOs and how many signals you will need, and you can also use it for quoting purposes. So you can import DXF or DWG drawings from AutoCAD, and you can use those as a graphical background to start also capturing your control system graphically on top of that particular DXF or DWG drawing. If you're working in the MCC or switchgear business and you need to lay out your switchgear cabinets, you need to lay out your systems and all of your buckets, instead of doing graphically or using Visio or even a CAD system to kind of graphically capture it, why not graphically capture it as well as logically? Meaning that behind each one of those buckets, you'll have the control system needed for that particular bucket, identifying the protection devices, identifying if you need a transformer, all of the various equipment needed per bucket can be captured up front during this elevation drawing layout. So you can create your elevation drawings easily in EPLAN, and behind the elevation drawings, again, you capture all of your control system, identifying the various different systems, the various different positions, and in each position you can capture the bucket and also identify the size of that particular bucket needed to drive your equipment. And finally, EPLAN pre-planning can also import and export data. As I mentioned earlier on, you could use Autodesk Revit to kind of capture certain information from a building perspective and then send this information to pre-planning to import the data and continue your controls design to lay out all of your control cabinets, for example. So if you have an Excel sheet of, if you have an instrumentation list, if you have a motor list, if you have a sensor list, if you have an I/O list or signal list, all of those types of Excel sheets can easily be imported in pre-planning and again create a structured view of your system. And from that structured view, you can then drive all of your detail engineering all the way down to your control cabinet very easily. Let's move on to EPLAN Fluid. So when we talk about EPLAN Fluid, we look at fluid power engineering. So fluid power engineering covers 4 different topics: pneumatics, hydraulics, cooling, and lubrication. So these are the uses of air or oil to actually create movement, create power transfer if needed on any given system. So we provide libraries that support the ISO representation of the symbology. The nomenclature can be completely adjusted to your needs, and we can also design all of the control system from a pneumatic aspect. So whether you're using valve manifolds, whether you're using cylinders, whether you're using vacuum systems, you can use EPLAN Fluid to design all of your pneumatic control system needed for that environment. You can also here design your hydraulic system. So if you work in mobile hydraulics or you have press systems where you need a hydraulic system to drive a cylinder, you have here your tank with your hydraulic pump, with your motors, and all of your control system for that particular hydraulic system. So this can also be captured completely inside of EPLAN Fluid. Then you can, from Fluid, click on a button and generate a parts list. So bill of material is generated from the drawings. So that is the big difference. You don't carry a bill of material separately on an Excel sheet and your drawings in a CAD environment. Both of those environments are merged. And now wherever you have your schematics or your pneumatic diagrams, you also have your bill of materials. So with the click of a button, you can easily generate your parts lists. EPLAN Electric P8 allows you to design all of your electrical control systems. So topics like single line diagrams, you can easily capture using P8. You can design your control circuits, you can design your PLCs, your DCSs, your HMI for your machine control. All of the things electrical can be captured and designed using EPLAN Electric P8. Here we've got an overview of the machine and we can capture all of the cable trays. So cable trays will identify the length of a particular segment, and by capturing and by creating your single line drawings, for example, you know which devices are connected with what, and the system could route the cables through these cable trays and give you cable length calculation. So this is a 2D approach to automatically calculating all of your cable lengths using 2D views. Here we have a motor control in a functional aspect, so you can either represent the motor on the same page as your control equipment. So here you see IOs as well as your actuator on the same page. It's a very easy view to troubleshoot your system, so you know if this motor fails, you know exactly which input, which output are being used to control it, and you can access all the equipment specific to that particular function. Here you can view an IEC layout. So whether you're drawing for the European market or the North American market or the Russian market using GOST norm or the China market using the GB norm, you can design using EPLAN with the right symbology and the right terminology needed for those specific markets. Here's an example of loop diagrams. So if you have a PNID that you've designed in pre-planning or you imported data through an instrumentation list, you can map all of this data to your loop diagrams and generate these loop diagrams through typicals or templates that you can easily drag and drop in your system. Here we'll see an interconnect diagram. These interconnect diagrams are used often when you have various different embedded systems, or like inside of a car you have multiple different modules that need to be connected together. And this information can also be used as a starting point to create wire harnesses. So in EPLAN Electric P8 you could design all of your control equipment for wire harnessing later on in your environment. And finally, EPLAN P8, with a click of a button, you can generate a parts list. So the schematics is your parts list. So the beauty of this is that you don't have to double check whether everything in your bill of material is also on your schematics or vice versa. They all completely integrated. So if you are missing something on your bill of material, that means it's not in the schematics. And if you're missing something in the schematics, that means it's not in the bill of material. So you'll make sure by creating a correct schematics that you have a correct bill of material as well. EPLAN Pro Panel, that's the digital twin of your control cabinet. So why 3D? Well, it's a lot easier to visualize a control cabinet in 3D and make sure everything works. However, the challenge today has always been that 3D tools have always been geared towards modeling. So you had to be mechanically inclined or have a mechanical degree to be able to understand how things fit, and you would extrude your models and you would create 3D models on the fly or as needed, and that was very tedious, or it was very challenging for controls designers or even controls engineers. Why? Because they don't need that amount of detail and they don't need that amount of complexity in a tool to do their job. So we created ProPanel as a very simplistic approach to 3D. You don't create anything in 3D. You don't extrude models. You don't create a push button. You don't create a motor controls center, or you don't create a variable frequency drive. What you do is you download a 3D model from a manufacturer, whether it's from Rockwell, from Festo, from Siemens, ABB, and you can simply place those components in 3D in those enclosures. So it's a very simple 3D tool made for controls designers, so they don't have to get lost in the complexity of 3D modeling tools. So this allows the user to quickly understand how his control cabinet's going to look like. It's very visual, very easy to use, and the user can still identify 2D layouts to easily place his components. So if you're designing anything from an MCC switchgear to control cabinets, marshalling cabinets, DCS cabinets, even fluid power like pneumatic cabinets, you can use EPLAN to design that. Here we see some applications using copper bar or bus bars. Those can also be designed in ProPanel, and these are just different views. Here we've got a extraction of the copper information. So if you have a bus bar, a copper bus bar in 3D, you can generate this drawing just by extracting the information from 3D and creating a manufacturing documentation for that particular copper bar. Here you can see information regarding the wiring. So if you look at Electric P8 and you look at the connectivity between the components, the wires can then be routed in 3D. The length can be calculated, and you can use that data to automatically drive wire fabrication machines, for example. Here's an example of a pneumatic control cabinet. So if you have pneumatic equipment, valve manifolds, air preparation units, and you need to show the tubes going in and out of the system, this can be done in 3D using ProPanel. So you can do all of your tube length calculations to easily connect that control cabinet afterwards. Here's an example of a hydraulic power unit where you have the tank, the oil tank at the bottom. You've got a motor with the motor pump, and that prepares the oil, so you can see things like pipes. These can all be designed in 3D using EPLAN ProPanel to make sure that you have the right length and the right bending angles for those particular systems. You can generate all of this documentation with a click of a button. So all of your 2D views now are just a result of the 3D. So you can just simply specify an area and say in that area, I want to see the back plate in 2D from the front, and it automatically generates that view. So all of the dimensioning, all of the drilling information, all of that is already in the 3D model. So all it is just being displayed and extracted for production if needed. So a very useful way of generating documentation. EPLAN Harness Pro D is the tool used to design all of your cables and wires inside of a closed compartment. Let's say a car. If you remove the body of the car, you'll see around the structure of the car, you'll see a whole bunch of cables going around. Like you can see here, this nice little Bentley. If you take it off, then you can see all of the wires and the harness system within that car. So you need a tool to be able to combine the electrical 2D as well as the 3D model of any given object to be able to understand and identify the routes of the various different cables. And this is what harness does. So here's the view of the harness once it's extracted and laid in 2D, but you need to manufacture this harness like 500 times, 1,000 times. So you use what they call nail boards, and these nail boards need to be created. So to take a 3D model using Harness Pro D, you can import the 3D model. You can overlay on top of the 3D model your wiring diagram imported from Electric P8, and you can route all of the wires around that 3D model, giving you your harness. So that way you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and all of the harness documentation is created from this particular 3D model. So you can import a SolidWorks model, you can import a Creo model, you can import an NX model or a CATIA model, and you can overlay all of the wiring information from Electric P8, and then you can create your harness from those particular applications. So if you're looking at mobile technology, whether it's buses, whether it's trucks, whether it's special vehicles, or you have inside of cars, you have all sorts of different control systems that need to be designed. Harness Pro D is the tool for that. You can also use Harness Pro D to do your field wiring. So if you want to go from a control cabinet on a machine all the way to the sensor or the actuator on the machine, the Harness Pro D can help you lay out all of your cables and do cable length calculations, so it makes it easier for the users afterwards to hook up all of their cables. Here's the result, which is your nail board that gives you the manufacturing information for putting the harness together. Then we have the EPLAN data portal. As you saw earlier on, it's part of our cloud application. So the EPLAN data portal provides you with over 950,000 components that are available for download. Rockwell alone provides over 30,000 components online in the data portal. So a user that needs a variable frequency drive just goes to the data portal, searches the part number, clicks on the part number, and just downloads it into his schematics. So that way he can easily use that component. Here you've got an example of a VFD or even a circuit breaker or just a breaker, and associate that breaker. You have the 3D model, you also have the schematics, you have the wiring diagram, and you can drag and drop any of those elements into your design very easily and very quickly. The beauty of the data portal is it's managed by EPLAN, but the data is provided by the manufacturers. So the manufacturers vet the information, give us the information, and you can then use that information. So it's a really nice environment to leverage design data and make your design again more efficient. Then we look into production. When we look at the control cabinets and designing those control cabinets, now you have to build those cabinets. So there are various different tools and systems that can be used to build or help you build those cabinets more quickly and more efficiently. The example here is the Perforex machine from Rittal, where you just lock in your back plate and then you just lock it in here and you download the information from ProPanel, because ProPanel is the digital twin of that control cabinet and knows exactly where the holes are. So you just download the model, lock in the control cabinet, press a button, start, and walk away. And 20 minutes later, or sometimes 15 minutes later, the entire backplate is already drilled and cutouts and all tapped, and everything is just ready to go, ready to be installed. Here's the example of a laser cutter. So this is a similar machine as the Perforix, except it doesn't use drill bits, it uses laser. So you can, again, drill your control cabinet automatically. Here we've got the ATEX machine. This is a machine that helps you cut and install your terminal strips automatically. If you have a marshalling panel, you might have hundreds of different terminals on a terminal strip. So snapping those terminals in place and labeling them correctly is probably a tedious task. Here you just simply download the terminal strip design from EPLAN, and you know exactly how many terminals you are, you know which type of terminals, you know the order, you know the labels. So now the system can just pull those terminals, snap them directly onto the twin rail, and automatically provide you with a completed terminal strip ready for install. So it's a very useful machine for generating terminal strips. And finally, we have here the wire terminal, which is a machine that helps you to cut the wires to length. So it can pull wires from over 32 different spools of wire colors and wire gauges. It'll pull the right wire, pull it to length, it'll label it, it'll crimp it, and it'll provide it for you to be installed. So you know exactly which wire goes where, from where to where. And we have tools again like smart wiring that'll present you, instead of looking at the schematics, it'll present you with a wire list, source, target, wire length, label, and then you can easily wire it, and once you're done you just check the marks and done, and then you can see exactly how many wires you've already wired and how many more you have to go. So it's a very useful tool for wiring inside of a control cabinet more efficiently. PLC DCS information. A lot of data for PLC programming is available in the schematics and needs to be transferred to your software programming environment. So whether you use Rockwell Studio 5000, whether you use the TIA portal from Siemens, whether you use Mitsubishi IQWorks, or you use Beckhoff TwinCat, depending on what software tool you use to program your PLC, the data from the schematics is required for that software. So you can easily interface that information between the various different systems. So we use Automation ML as a standardized interface between the different systems, and you can transfer the information from EPLAN to the PLC software back and forth. EPLAN Integration Suite allows you to integrate our software solutions with ERP and PDM systems. So whether you're using Siemens Teamcenter, Windchill, ProCAD, Autodesk Vault, SAP, or others, we can integrate EPLAN into those different systems. So that way a bill of materials from SAP can be transferred to EPLAN, and then an updated EPLAN bill of material can be transferred back to SAP for purchasing, for example. Or the design documentation from the platform can be uploaded to Windchill, or can be uploaded to Siemens Teamcenter for storage and management and made available for business applications. So again, we have various different interfaces that we can easily integrate into your existing business solutions. And finally, ePulse, which is our cloud-based engineering ecosystem. So we created an environment in the cloud which is called ePulse, and in that environment, in that ecosystem, we have various different applications. One application is eView. eView is the online viewer. So you design your system using the EPLAN solutions, you click on a button, it uploads that project to the cloud. Now in the cloud, anybody with a browser, with a web browser, can view and visualize the project. And he can also make redlinings if necessary, and this information is sent back to engineering so they can update the prints, make the changes, and publish a new version. So we use Azure Cloud from Microsoft to provide all of our cloud-based services, and again it provides you with a huge amount of benefits in terms of collaboration, easy access. You don't have to manage and maintain all of your IT hardware to store all of the data. So there's a lot of value in using the cloud as a service. And here, added value again provides new workflows for installation, service, and maintenance that will make your environment a lot more easier to use and access. Here we have a tool called eBuild. eBuild is a configurator online. So if you have certain circuits like motor starter circuits or distribution circuits that just need to be configured and generated, you can use eBuild to quickly put these systems together, click on a button, and auto-generate your designs. So again, a huge benefit in that aspect, and that can also be available either in the cloud or even on-premise. And finally, the EEC, which is our EPLAN engineering configuration, is a high-level tool that allows you to build a modular system. So using a library of blocks or a library of circuits. These circuits are not just static, they're configurable. So using parameters, you can adjust those circuits. You plug these circuits into a configurator, and based on the configuration you select, you can auto-generate your quote, auto-generate your BOM, auto-generate your 3D model, auto-generate your schematics, auto-generate your PLC, and auto-generate all of your manufacturing documentation or manufacturing programs needed. So it's a really, really powerful tool, and you can generate now a lot of tasks that are today tedious in the engineering process. So really, really powerful approach right there. So again, this is an overview of the solutions, and what I'll do now is jump into the software to give you a quick overview of how that interface looks like. So if we switch over to EPLAN, first of all, you can use pre-planning, and this is the pre-planning approach where I import a layout of my system. So layouts, I can go to my pages, I can import DXF, DWG files from external applications and use them as a background. And as you notice here, I can actually select this object, but I can also switch it back and say this is a background object. So now I can't even click on it, I can't move it, so all of these objects are now going to be a nuisance, so to speak, in my design process. Now I'd like to capture the control system. So instead of trying to type the information in an Excel sheet or in a CAD environment, I simply select, okay, I need a motor. I've got a conveyor belt. I'm going to drop in a motor right here for that particular section. I'm going to identify the motor. This is going to go into my machine, onto my parts preparation segment. So just move it over here and okay. Then the system's going to say you've got different configurations for that motor, different motor sizes. And this information will also influence my motor control starter circuit. So let's say I'm going to select here a 2 horsepower motor, and then I've already got it defined. Now I'm going to select a motor for this particular area here. I'm going to drop it in here. This motor is going to go into my part grinding area. And this time I'll need a motor that's a little bit stronger. I'm going to use a 4 horsepower motor. And now finally, for the last segment of my conveyor belt, I'm going to place again a motor in my parts processing system. And this is going to be just a smaller motor just to run the conveyor belt, which is about 1 horsepower. So you can see a graphical capture of my control system. I also have some pneumatic cylinders here that I need to activate my grinders or to push my grinders into place. So I'm just going to drop in those 2 cylinders, and you can see here these 2 cylinders are now available for my part grinding area. So all I did was just graphically capture some controls equipment, and logically here in pre-planning you can already see that in my parts preparation I've got a motor, and this motor is, I've got my motor 2. This one should be here in my parts grinding area, so I'm just going to move it across. So you can see here using drag and drop you can easily move components from one area to another. Behind each one of these objects I also have my data. So here's my motor 2. I've got a description, I've got my technical description, but I also have information regarding construction, planning, and software. Here, for each one of these objects, I can identify how long is it going to take to build the system, how long is it going to take to plan the system, and also to program it, and how much is it going to cost. This information can be used for quoting purposes. So now if I wanted to go to a report, right now I've got this report that doesn't have any information on it. I'm just going to update it, and now suddenly it's going to capture all of my control equipment, and you can see here I've got my pneumatic cylinders, I've got my 3 motors. It identifies how many IOs, how many signals I need for each one of them. So I need 10 digital outputs, 13 digital inputs. I need 5 hours of planning, 16 hours of construction, 8 hours of software for a total price of $8,500. So this is a way to quickly capture quoting information by simply doing a graphical layout of your system. I need a control cabinet, so I'm just going to right click here. I'm going to insert a macro, which is my enclosure. So I'm just going to go here to pre-planning, machine layout, and here's my enclosure. So this enclosure will capture things like my main disconnect and maybe a power supply for my PLC system. So now I need to start my design. To do that, all I have to do, because the objects were already created inside of pre-planning, I can just use drag and drop. So here I've got a pneumatic control system, an air preparation unit. Here are my here's my valve manifold, so I can look at my cylinder 1, cylinder 2. I'm just going to drag and drop those 2 cylinders here on my page, and here I can just place them. So you can see now how easy it becomes to lay out the control system from a pneumatic perspective. Then I'm going to do the same thing here for my electrical circuit. First, I'm going to take my enclosure, and I'm going to simply drag this enclosure here into my drawing, and it's going to create a new page number 11. And as you can see, I got a page with a main disconnect, and this main disconnect, I've also got a PLC 24-volt supply. Then I'm going to go to my machine layout, select my motors, motor 1 and motor 2. These two, I'm just going to drag them in here. And now behind it again, I've got a control circuit for that. So I'm just going to drop it in here, 1 and 2. Yeah. And as you can see, the sizes of the motors as well was already transferred in part preparation, exactly the information coming from pre-planning. So if I go to my other machine layout page, I'm going to take this third motor and just drag it into here and move it over there. Now for my cylinder, I've got some extended and retracted sensors, so I'm just going to drag those onto here, and of course the actuator that starts the cylinder. So using that, I can just simply drag and drop my components right there. Perfect. So now that I've got my control system laid out, I'd like to start assigning some I/O. From an I/O perspective, if I look at my PLC I/O, I can view all of the information. I can see I've got a couple of inputs here, I've got a couple of outputs, couple of inputs, couple of outputs. These were captured as I was laying out my control system. However, I would like to use a configuration that comes from, for example, a PLC programming environment like the TIA portal or Studio 5000 Architect or even IAB. So using Automation ML, I can import a configuration. So I don't have any one of these software running on my machine right now, but I'm going to simply import a file, and this file is going to give me a configuration which will include a rack, a controller. So, and you see I got 4 devices, I got 1 CPU, and these are my components that came from my hardware configuration. So now if I change the view and I look at a rack-oriented view, I got my configuration project, I got my PLC, I've got my controller, I've got my input, and I've got my output. So using external tools, you can do your hardware configuration and simply import that. Now I'd like to map this information from EPLAN into this hardware configuration. So let's just activate my digital inputs. I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to map these inputs to use connection point blockwise. So these are the inputs in my schematics. Now I'm going to select the inputs from the hardware configuration that I imported. And now I can just simply say OK. And if you now look at this information in schematics, now it knows exactly which rack, which slot, and all of the information associated. So you can see also connection point number 8, connection point number 11, connection point number 12. These were auto-transferred from that. And now if I wanted to, I could go to my PLC overview. And in my PLC overview, I could easily look at my PLC. And let's just take the filter off. Look at this particular PLC card, and I can just drag this onto my overview page. Now I would view the entire PLC card, and I could just place it, and as you can see, all the information in regards to the IOs is then laid out and captured. So now you know how to manage that. And of course, if you want to click on any one of these devices, you can navigate back to the cross-reference and jump into the schematics and know exactly which point you're looking at. So a very easy way in ePlan to manage all of your IOs specific to a design environment and making sure that they are assigned to the right hardware. So now you really don't have to use Excel sheets to manage your hardware layout. You can import all of your hardware information in ePlan and manage it right there and then. So finally, the aspect that's also really interesting is the 3D aspect. If I have here a 3D space, so I haven't changed the software, it's still the same environment, but I'm going to create a 3D layout. So I'm going to create a new layout space, and in this layout space, I'm going to start inserting that control cabinet. So in here, I've got a 3D mounting layout. Here's my cabinet I inserted earlier on. So by drag and drop, now I've got a 3D view of that control cabinet. And I can lay out or identify my mounting panel. I can show just the mounting panel. Then now I could actually select a front view of that panel and start laying out my control cabinet. So inserting topics like wire duct, inserting DIN rails are just very, very easy. So you select the part number. The part number identifies the physical characteristics of that component. And then I can just simply now just drop it in here and quickly just lay out a system. So you can also snap to existing objects if needed. Yep. And now if I insert a mounting rail, again, you select the part number. This will identify the profile and the type of part that you're using. I'm going to adopt length from here to here, and also click adopt length. I'm going to place one down here. So you can use coordinates and everything if you need to. So I'm going to copy and paste this, for example. Copy and paste. Just insert a new wire duct. Right click, adopt length. This one, and just place it down here. So here I've created a couple of DIN rails and wire ducts, and now I can take all of my components and start laying them out. So here I've got my main disconnect. I'm going to drop it on here. Then I'm going to take my contactors or my motor overload switches, and I'm just going to place them here. I'm going to take my contactors, drop them in here. So you can see, even if you don't have a 3D representation of a particular component, it will still give you the physical aspects using X, Y, and Z. And that way you can quickly and easily visualize that particular panel. Then I can take my terminal strips and download my terminal strips and place them here on this particular DIN rail. And then I can also now, based on the schematics that I have, I can highlight the entire thing, and I can go and say route my system. And all of the wires are then going to be routed within the control cabinet. So each wire now can be measured in terms of length. And if you go and view, you can also view the drilling view, and this will show you exactly, for example, the hole patterns for your DIN rail, and this information could be sent to a Perforex machine for automatic drilling. So that kind of summarizes the topic of our solutions portfolio, giving you a bit of an idea, hopefully a better understanding of what solutions we have and how they all work together. So again, providing you from the overview, capturing your components very easily, all the way to your details engineering, to your 3D layout, and also generating all the reports needed for the application.
I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. Be sure to stop by the ePlan Experience booth at the Rockwell Automation Fair at home. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Right? First of all, thank you for having Jeff and myself here at your amazing facility. It has been an amazing and incredible past 3 years. I'm going to dive right into it. So, as a leader, you're always evaluating the best of use for limited resources and, again, evaluating competing priorities. Help us understand the motivation behind your digital engineering journey and the key drivers that were critical.
It's a great question. I think there's always many things that you want to do with a business, many, many more than you can actively do at any given time. But I've really chosen to focus heavily on the combination of where electrical design and panel fabrication meet, because I think it has such an outsized impact on what customers receive from us and our own performance as a company.
So right, as Andrew said, thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to have a conversation with you. I always find it intriguing, but more particularly, I think it's valuable for those other customers who are looking at their own journey. Now, when I think about what you just said, there's a change here that goes on from incrementalization, if I could use that word, to a really significant change in direction. Can you expound upon that a little bit for us?
Oh, sure. It's there's a very clear moment in time for me when things change. We had been using ePlan for about 12 years, mostly for automotive applications and very large quantities of drawings on projects. And we were using some of the features well, but I also knew that we weren't tapping into the full potential of all the different platforms that ePlan offered and all the different features of the platforms that we already had. So we were using it well, but we weren't tapping into the all the possibilities. We had a visit from Andrew and Michael Yeshka came, and they were only here for 45 minutes, but it fundamentally shifted my view of what we could do. And the way they did that was by explaining, just giving me a vision of what was possible, both in panel fabrication and in design, and how they could be integrated, and telling me about customers, ePlan customers, that I should look at videos and get a feel for what the state of the art really looked like. I mean, that was, so what's the key moment of change? It's when I had a sense of what was possible, but having really a partner that would tell me, okay, here are very specific examples. And then essentially our rate of change went from a respectable rate of change to really a much more accelerated approach to adopting these tools. And that caused our efficiency to go up tremendously. And we're continuing along that journey of change.
Well, thanks for using a very important word, by the way, partnered. I think that's how we both feel about the relationship we built, and it is working together that I think we get the most out of it all in total. I want to talk a little bit about though, you had a meeting with Andrew and Michael. You knew something more was there in the back of your mind, but now you're a manager of an entire organization. I think the last time I checked with you, 75 roughly employees. and now you want to embark upon a new journey. How do you do that with an organization? There's a big element of change management here. Walk us through your vision around leading that change through your organization, and more so, how do you instill and sustain that same mindset that you have with your entire team?
I think fundamentally, organizations don't change in a lasting way based on one person. You have to have everybody share the vision, and you have to have common conversations where people are having conversations with each other, so that organically you're all heading in the same direction. But a leader like me is not going to cause us to move forward. I may help sketch out the vision, but it's the people here in this office and in this shop that get excited about what's possible and decide to actually make it a reality. Those are the people that cause us to move. I indicate the direction, and they actually make the beast move, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's no easy thing.
It's a lot more than just training, though. You know, we've been involved with you, and we've trained a number of your people. But when you think about how do you instill that mindset, it's about getting them to share your vision too, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, and it's about having a greater vision than the work at hand on any given day. So there's always, what is the fastest way to do today's work by the end of the day? And that's so easy to fall into the trap of that's our mission, is the work for today, the work for this week, the work for this month. And that doesn't often leave enough room for what do we want to look like 3 years from now. And, you mentioned training, and that's been a huge critical component of this, is some of the training classes we've had, and even the conversations that my colleagues have had inside of EPLAN training classes, where I recall several of them taking a pro panel class and having very collaborative discussions about what the possibilities were. And if I can ignite that type of creative, inventive thinking of what does the future look like, then my job becomes much easier. And a heavy lift of moving us to the future becomes a nudge, and passionate people take it from there and move us to where I would love to see us go.
Truly becomes a sea change at that point.
Yeah.
Exactly. There is a value along the entire automation lifecycle, from planning to operations. Can you give us some insight on why you see your journey as not just a bottom line investment, but the bigger picture, the ROI, and why and where you see the efficiencies of automation and engineering efficiently?
Okay, that's an interesting question, and it's something I'm very passionate about, because a lot of people ask me about tools, like whether it's EPLAN design tools, to increase engineering efficiency that you spoke of, but also tools like the Rittal automation systems PerfoX machine that helps us be far more effective and efficient at doing the physical panel fabrication process. When you look at those tools, everybody wants to look at return on investment, which is great. And I'm a business leader, and I'll be the first to say, that's my first question, sure. But what's my second question? My second question is, how does this transform us as a business? And when you're asking simply, what is the efficiency return of a PerfoX, or what is the efficiency return of a design automation tool, you often miss the greater point. And the greater point is not just what's the impact on the bottom line, which is your profitability, but what's the impact on the top line, which is when your customers are coming in and you have to say, we're full, we're at capacity right now because we're manually cutting holes in our panels, which we were 3 years ago when I started that conversation. Or we have too much design work right now and all of our people are covered up for several weeks. And so you're having to tell a customer, not right now, okay, which to me is the absolute worst thing. I want to be able to say yes. When when a piece of equipment not only makes us more efficient and drives money to the bottom line, that's great, but an even bigger impact to me is being able to say yes more. If we can do more volume here, then we change what this company is able to do for customers, and that's huge to me.
Really changes your dynamics with the customer, I think, in the end. Yeah, very, very important point. And when I think of you talk about a journey. Thinking back to your early days, I want to come back to that. How did you decide to move? I think you said, I always had in the back of my mind that there was something more, but sometimes you get busy and you're trying to make those decisions. Maybe you're looking at the ROI, or maybe you're just kind of stuck in first gear, not knowing what is the next step. How did you decide to take that next big step? What was the epiphany that really drove that?
I think one of the fundamental things is looking at how our business is changing. Like many segments of business, there's consolidation happening where the smaller companies are being gobbled up by larger companies. So that's one. So the more efficient companies are the survivors. So I knew we had to increase our efficiency no matter what. We had to be very aggressive at being the survivor and not the laggard. Usually in this sort of field, when you realize you're behind, it's usually too late. And that's one of the hardest things. We often talk about leading edge versus bleeding edge, and nobody wants to be on the bleeding edge, but you better be on the leading edge or you'll be left behind. And so for me, fundamentally, it was all about changing faster than our competitors were changing and creating the future that I could see plain as day was ahead of us. If I think forward 5 and 10 years, and I think if most people watching this think forward 5 to 10 years, they can draw a pretty clear picture of what things will be automated, how things will be done. Even, we often talk about mass producing a quantity of one. So even if you're designing and fabricating something truly unique or one-off, as we might say, that thing, you want to use the techniques of mass production, and you want to be able to do it like you are making 10,000 of that one thing. And if you can do that, then you're the most efficient player out there. And that's what these tools, to me, that's what they help us reach, and that's what they make possible.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you talk about it as a journey, because there's no silver bullet. There's no snapping your fingers and you're going to make this change. You've got to decide, I think, what your long-term goals are, but then what's that first big step, and have the courage to go there, but also the partners. Coming back to that, and I think that's what we've been able to do in the past 3 years together with starting with the discussion with you and Michael.
Yeah, and I would say, speaking of the partnership, one thing that's particularly meaningful to me is the way that EPLAN and Rittal together really have this laser focus on this space of electrical design and fabrication. Are there other pieces? There's pneumatics. There are other pieces for sure. But that's the world we live in, okay? It's building panels, and we need that to be end-to-end, fully integrated. As a leader, I'm trying to break down the walls completely so the fabricators understand what went into the design, and they understand that process, and they're communicating fluidly, and the designers understand the fabrication process. And then it's all data-driven. It's not drawing-driven. It's driven by data. And then we can achieve the pinnacle of efficiency. That's the only possibility. And that's a radically different approach from, say, 10 years ago, where you had a design silo and then you had a fabrication silo. We're sitting out here in the fabrication shop right now, and I'm proud as punch of what we've been able to accomplish out here, because it's made the work much more meaningful for the people that work out here. Now, instead of manually doing a lot of things really well, they can have an impact over a much higher volume. So that lets the company impact more customers in a positive way, but it lets the individual employee here have a bigger and bigger impact on the work that we do. And those are both actually equally critical, because that's a healthy organization that has a bright future, and that's, you know, nothing is more important to me than that.
So based off of everything that we spoke about today, what would be your key message to anyone and everyone that is A, watching, and B, listening to this?
I would say the most important thing to realize is that everybody matters in this process, and the leader helps set the vision, and I see that role from my own chair very easily. But there are so many times in my 25 years of managing this company that I've had a vision and no way to make it possible. And as a leader, there's nothing more frustrating than that. And yet, whose fault is that? That's the leader's fault. And so making a great change requires all of us, okay? And really, as I've said, the ones who move it are the ones who actually do the design, do the fabrication, manage the areas, and starting to see what is possible is certainly all of our job, but then learning about those tools, informing each other. The magic happens when you have multiple people in different roles, all sharing a reasonably the same vision, but also knowing what's possible. Okay, so the training in the tool. So we've all used software, we've all used spreadsheets where we, you know, year after year, maybe we knew just enough to do that same thing over and over, and we knew maybe 5% of the tool. You know, it's really getting to know. It's like, know the tools so that you can have a conversation about what's possible for next year, for us to be like next year. Maybe we don't use it on this project, but we start to see how we could change our organization when we know what our tools are capable of. And also, I spoke of the guidance that ePlan gave me in looking at certain operations. There's always an organization, no matter what you do, there's always somebody who's better at something you do. Even if you're the best at A, there may be B and C that you do that somebody else is bigger, faster, more efficient, whatever. You may be the king of the hill on A, but B and C, there's somebody else. In everything you do, you should be looking at who is exceptional at that thing. And it doesn't mean you go copy that. Or you may not want to be that, but you can learn from that. And to me, that's what we all should be doing, because we're in a time of tremendous change. All of us need to contribute to our local economy, to our companies, and to the world. And so to do that, we've all got to be learning. We should be learning everything we can and then collaborating to make this future happen.
Well, Wright, thanks again for sharing your vision with us, your comments. I think it's highly valuable, sharing your journey and hoping that others can learn from where you are in that. It's always a thought-provoking discussion when we get together, and I hope anyone out there who's watching and listening can certainly contact us, contact you directly at A&E Engineering, and we look forward to having you back again in the future.
I'd be happy to, and I just want to reiterate what a positive change the ePlan organization and the Rittal organization has had on the growth and development of our company. You guys have helped me view the context in which we operate differently. You've helped me view the potential for our company differently. You've helped train our people, and you've helped all of us achieve greater things in the last 3 years, and greater things using ePlan in the last 3 years than we did in the previous 12. And that's as a leader, that's what we want. That's what any leader wants, and I'm just thrilled to be doing it with the ePlan team.
Engineering is going through a real revolution. Cloud computing, the Internet of Things, and data integration have a huge impact on industrial production systems. An efficient exchange of digital data between the different engineering phases is necessary to prevent disruption. If you want to work efficiently, you must think in an integrated way. That starts in the concept phase. Thanks to the digitization and modularization of engineering data, you can immediately start with conceptual design. This smart customization ensures substantial time savings, better estimable offers, and sharper delivery times. Smart engineering stands for a smart connection of electrical, mechanical, and software data. Thanks to one virtual prototype, everyone speaks the same language. It opens the door to smart production. The digital twin with 3D info and other smart data ensures smooth communication between man and machine. The better and more accessible information is built up in the concept, engineering and production phases, the less time you'll lose later on in case of downtime. You can also store everything in the cloud, so everyone has direct access to the right digital data at any given time. It's crystal clear. Working in an integrated way creates added value, shortens the lead time of your projects, and reduces downtime in case of a breakdown. This way you create a great added value for your product. Do you want to know how you can do this? The different solutions within the EPLAN platform support you towards an integrated engineering and production process. Your digital transformation with EPLAN.
Digital data has become a primary focus for product development and production, with manual and automated processes of panel building. Having standardized and digitally provided data is becoming a necessity. User errors are expensive, and implementing the correct set of wiring can be tedious and oftentimes daunting. With the help of virtual prototyping, access to creating a digital footprint of wiring is now possible. From the connections to the best routing path, EPLAN Smart Wiring creates a virtual layout that provides shop floors with all the necessary information in a 3D digital format. Data can be passed along to different departments seamlessly. Whether it's a manual or fixed installation, wiring information is available to the design department via email. What else can smart wiring do? With the help of a smart device, you can access EPLAN Smart Wiring and receive detailed step-by-step instructions for easy implementation. Wiring can be completed without schematics or layouts, and connections can be recorded using the traffic light principle. In addition to creating a transparent guideline, smart wiring also helps avoid mistakes in real time. By running an automatic project comparison, last-minute changes are now possible. Using EPLAN Pro Panel, Smart Wiring and eView will give you a 45% time savings in wire preparation and project completion. To learn more about how to save on cost and time through automation, visit us at info.eplanusa.com/wiring 4.0.
Welcome. I'm Teresa Hauk, Executive Editor of the Journal for Rockwell Automation and our Partner Network magazine. And I'm talking with Sean Mulheron from EPLAN Software and Service, which is a Rockwell Automation and Compass product partner. Hi, Sean.
Hi, Teresa. How you doing?
Good. Let's start by explaining what you do at EPLAN and what the company does.
Well, I've been with the company for 27 years now, so quite a while, and gone through the ranks in terms of different departments, doing support and consulting. And since 2013, I've been part of the product management team. So today I'm responsible for EPLAN pre-planning, EPLAN fluid, and EPLAN electric P8. So 3 products in the product management. Our tools, EPLAN, help our users be more efficient in the controls design aspect. So when you have machines and systems, you have the whole control system, which is motors, drives, protection devices, controls devices, cables, wires. So all of those components can be easily designed, laid out, and managed in EPLAN using our EPLAN solutions.
And what does it mean for your customers that you're a Rockwell Automation and Compass product partner? How do they benefit from that?
Well, Rockwell provides the components for the machines and also provides the tools to program and develop the machines. Since we have the tools to design the machines, it's natural that we interact with the various aspects of Rockwell. One of the aspects is the data portal. So the data portal is a catalog of parts that is accessible online. And Rockwell has over 30,000 components available online to every one of the EPLAN users to simply download and use directly in the design environment. Once they've done the design, all of your I/O information, all of your I/O signals, your tags, your I/O addresses, your descriptors, all of that data can also be imported or exported to and from Studio 5000 solutions. So whether you're using Logix or Logix Architect, you can interact with those solutions to provide all of the I/O data automatically out of EPLAN without having to do a manual takeoff. And finally, Proposal Works, that is used widely by Rockwell customers to create bill of materials, order lists, lists of parts. All of these parts can be easily imported into EPLAN to start off your design or in the middle of a design to complement the design and make sure also that all of the aspects are looked into or looked after based on the bill of materials that's provided. So various different interactions work between Rockwell solutions and EPLAN solutions to provide high efficiencies to our common customers.
It's a huge help in efficiencies and making jobs easier. And nowadays, that's so important. Work smarter, not harder, right?
Absolutely. You want to make the less manual steps, the less manual steps you can do, the better off you are, because the less chances you have of making mistakes. And let the software do it for you.
Yeah, and speaking of that, controls design is very important. And what kind of challenges do you see going on today in controls design?
Well, the challenges I see today is many users and customers or prospects typically use CAD tools. So whether you use a CAD tool for your mechanical environment, they will simply use that same tool to design the control system. And they're not using the right tools today, because the CAD tool is a great tool for mechanical design and to do mechanical 2D layouts and capture mechanical information. However, once you go into the controls design environment, the CAD tool falls short. And they fall short of functionality to help the user be more efficient in designing control circuits. We take the example of tagging the devices. Every device has to be manually tagged. Every wire has to be manually tagged. All of the interpages cross-references have to be manually managed and verified. The bill of materials is separate to the design environment, so they constantly have to be synchronized. The panel layout, how do you know that all of the components you have in your schematics are also on the panel layout? And those are big challenges today that designers have using CAD tools. And this is where we want to come in with EPLAN and provide them a lot better efficiencies. In addition to that, if you look at today's work environment or business environment, you want to use the right tools for the right tasks. You don't want to use a spoon to dig a hole. You want to use an excavator depending on the size of the hole. So you want to make sure you have the right tools. And business data is becoming more and more critical. So of course, you want to have right tools and the performant tools to be able to support the amount of data that you have, as well as make sure that you don't have any data loss and the data is accurate for your business. So the right tools are highly important in that environment.
So where does ePlan fit in solving some of those challenges?
Well, we take away the CAD aspect, the drafting aspect out of the engineering, and we provide the user with an interface that he can easily capture the data that he needs to capture. So whether you start up front with concepts and basic engineering using our tool like ePlan pre-planning, you can start capturing all of your motors, your drives, your big equipment, and start defining the values that are important to your controls environment. And then as you move along the engineering process, you can start implementing other solutions like ePlan Fluid Power to do all of your pneumatics or hydraulics designs and start controlling those aspects of your machine, and then providing that data further down to the ePlan Electric P8 for your controls design. So you don't have to re-enter the data from the beginning. You just keep using the same data, just enriching it with additional details. And eventually you can then take that data and send it to ePlan Pro Panel to lay out your control cabinet. So you can make sure that everything you've done in your controls design is then reutilized into your panel build and making your panel build more efficient. So along the steps of engineering, we are really supporting the users with ease of use in capture of the data, ease of use in automating a lot of the mundane and manual tasks he's doing today, and making sure that the data is high quality, that he doesn't have to enter it multiple times. And of course, if you look at controls designs today, I mean, before you would have one drive and maybe 2 or 3 sensors on a machine. Now, every machine has hundreds of drives and thousands of sensors, which create thousands and thousands of signals now at the PLC, which create more PLC, more code, more data, and you need the right tools to support that amount of data. And ePlan is a perfect solution to help you. It's database driven, so it's really managing data at the end of the day, and the graphical front end is just a display of the data that's captured in the database.
And you talk about managing the data. Is it true? It's my understanding that using CAD means it's not appropriate for managing critical corporate data. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct, because CAD is just graphical information, and you have to then interpret that graphical information and extract the data in a manual way to like Excel sheets or other databases. So you're constantly looking at a CAD drawing and re-entering the data from the CAD drawing into another tool. So you're transferring, you're doing manual takeoffs from the CAD environment into other tools to process the data. In ePlan, you do the same thing in the same environment. So once you've entered the data, then you don't have to re-enter it anywhere. You just simply click on a button and the information is then transferred automatically, minimizing the chances of error.
Yeah, boy, that makes a big difference. It's a huge leap forward, and in today's era of needing to be more efficient and smart manufacturing with so many more sensors and components, as you were talking about, it's important get the data where it needs to be faster.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely critical nowadays. And unfortunately, we're still using antiquated tools and not the right tools for the job. And as I said, you would never want to use a spoon to dig a hole.
That's right. That sounds like a headline to me.
That could be, yes.
Yeah. Well, I know there's a lot more to learn about your solutions and using your approach to design. So what's your web address where viewers can get more information about this?
Well, if you go to www.eplanusa.com or epulse.com, we have various different websites, but pretty much all linked to each other. And you can search the web and we kind of guide you depending on solutions, depending on the industry, depending on your task at hand. And of course, you can contact us through the website, through our email, and get in touch with us, and we can give you a lot more information and understand what your current processes are and help you become more efficient in controls design.
Great. Thanks, Sean. It was great talking to you. And make sure you follow up and get information from ePlan. I'm Teresa Hauk, editor of the Journal magazine. Talk to you next time.
Thank you, Teresa. Have a good one.
You too.
The ePlan platform includes products that are tailored to provide efficiencies in design and engineering of electrical and automation projects. ePlan has always been the tool that allows electrical engineers to excel and outperform the competition. Although ePlan may be part of your vision, you need to know for sure that it's going to work and that you'll be able to show your team. The ePlan guided trial team of experts can help you with this task. This test drive of sorts is not only free, but it includes a real project plan with guidance and support from an ePlan certified consultant. So what are you waiting for? Your journey starts here. info.eplanusa.com/guided-trial.
When we wake up in the morning, the world has changed again. And if change is the single constant of today, whether in automation, digital transformation, mechatronics, or electrical engineering, we should take change as what it is. Chance. Our mission? We want to design the future of engineering. Designing the future means being open. Open to everyone and every idea. We connect engineers, systems, data and disciplines worldwide for machine and panel builders. Designing the future means empowering. We empower engineers all over the world to realize their ideas. Our tools and solutions enable you to maximize your efficiency, customized to your needs, from simple to high-end. Designing the future means being future-proof. We lead the market with more than 50,000 customers and with 19 languages. We offer local support in more than 50 countries. This makes us the global partner for you and your future success. Because efficient engineering is when a plan becomes ePlan. Collaboration means being close to our customers, listening to your needs and your challenges, and understanding how we can help you to plan and shape the future. Let's ePlan.
Hi, My name is Narelle Safi. I'm a technical consultant with EPLAN Software and Services. We hope you are enjoying Rockwell Automation Fair at home. Today, I am going to show you how you can digitalize your control system with EPLAN. Feel free to ask any question in the chat and we will get to those right away. Thanks again for joining us, and let's go ahead and get started.
This is digitalizing your control system, and we have Narelle on the line. He's one of our application engineers, senior application engineer, and he's going to do this demo, this presentation for you. We also have Jennifer Payne, and her responsibility is our data portal and all the supplier information that's contained within that. I'll let Jennifer do a quick explanation of what the data portal entails, so you understand that before we get started with Narelle on the demo. Thanks for coming.
Thank
Jennifer?
you, Roger.
Yeah.
Thank you. So as Roger just said, I am the business sales manager for Master Data. And so I am responsible for the data portal and working with manufacturers to join our digital catalog, where then we work with them to input their data, and we really work hard to achieve great data sets and depth of quality within the information we receive from them. And then that is uploaded onto the data portal, where then as a user, you're able to go in there and click and download the information into your projects. So I also work with we have a global team out of Germany, and currently we have over 300 suppliers on the data portal. We have recently launched our new EDS, what we call their EPLAN data standards, again, to encourage our manufacturers to provide the best quality data on our portal. So we appreciate you joining our demonstration today, and I will hand it over to Narelle so he can show you what our system entails. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Narelle Safi. I'm an application engineer with EPLAN. I have been with EPLAN for 3 years, a little bit over 3 years now. My responsibility is to do consulting, trainings, and pre-sales activities with our sales. I am very glad today to show you a little bit about EPLAN P8, more specific, and EPLAN as a platform in general. So thank you for attending, and let's get started. All right, so this is EPLAN. This is the EPLAN platform as a whole. If you take a look at the top right here, EPLAN, you're probably familiar with some of EPLAN menus, since EPLAN is written on a common Windows tool. So for example, some of these menus, for example, cut, copy, paste, and the shortcut that comes with it, it's a standard as a window standard. Also, EPLAN has its own shortcut and toolbars. So if you take a look, there's plenty of toolbars that's available when you install EPLAN, and also you can customize your own toolbars to make your design process more easy and more efficient. All right. You could put your toolbars here on the top to make it easy, or on the sides. This is all based on your preference. Now, EPLAN is a database-driven system. You don't have to do any database management. However, this is just an information for you to tell you that the entire project is set up as a database at its core, and all the documents inside your project are connected together as one database. Think of it as an PowerPoint slides. So when I go ahead here and open one of my documents, so for example, the title page or the cover sheet, I'm not opening an outside file. I'm just opening this page inside my project, and I can easily navigate between my pages. Yeah, that saves me time and less errors and mistakes. So for example, here I have my title page. Another benefits of having the project as a one database is one source of entry. So I can put the information in one spot, and that information will distribute it on the entire project. So if we take a look at this example, for example, I'm going to change the company name here. Call this EPLAN. You can see that the changes took effect here on the top right away, and also at the bottom you can see here the company name changed. At any page that I open right now, these changes will be, or this update will take effect on that page. Now, as a user or as an engineer, you can start your design from any data that you have. So in EPLAN, there's 3 ways of designing by the symbol, designing by the device, and designing by predefined circuit. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead right here and just create a new page. So, as you can see, EPLAN automatically recognizes what's the next available page in there. I still have the possibility to go ahead and change that page number. So anywhere I can click here, it can tell me what is the next available one in that section. So I can go ahead, for example, and select here and say new. You can see that page 64 is the next available one in that section, or what's below it. I'm going to go ahead and give it a description. So I'm going to call this motors. Press OK. And here you can see it's a brand new page. The information that we entered at the beginning is still there. Yeah, and it will continue to be there the more we build on into this project. Just like I mentioned, engineer could start from any data that they have or any information that they have. If they decide to design by the symbol, since they don't know the part or the number or the device that they're going to assign at the moment, they could do that. If I go insert symbol in the top, you can see all these symbol libraries that EPLAN provide you with. These symbol libraries, you don't have to customize, you don't have to maintain. These comes with EPLAN, and it get updated every version installed. So with every new version, there's could be some new symbols. EPLAN will keep maintaining this to make it as easy as possible on the engineers to start their design. You can see it serves several standards. So here I can see the NFPA symbols in inches. I can see NFPA symbols in millimeters. I can see the IEC standard, which is the European standard symbol, graphic symbol libraries, and special symbol library. So let's say I want to design a motor circuit. Yeah? I'm going to go ahead and go to my power consumer. And as you can see, it's very well organized. I will not get lost in menus or search bars. All I need to do is think about the symbol that I need to place, and I can easily target it. You can see here's the motor circuit, more motor sections, and you can see it's even filtered based on the connection points that's in that motor. So if I go more into this tree, I can see, for example, this motor, yeah, and I can see the description of this motor. So let's say I decided to select this motor, yeah, while this motor is attached to my cursor, yeah, I can click the tab key and rotate between all the 8 variants that this motor has. Once I'm satisfied with this motor position, I could just go ahead and click. Automatically, EPLAN will recognize where this motor is placed and give it a unique device tag. this is based on your company settings. So if your settings is different than the NFPA standard, EPLAN will adopt these settings and insert it into your symbol data. So here, the settings that I have for this project is based on the row number and the identification of this symbol, which is MTR to represent as a motor. Once I press OK, these information will be displayed on my schematics. As you can see, here's my motor, and here's the row number that this motor is placed on. Just let me select my settings here. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so now I have my motor placed on my schematics. I can double click on this motor later on, probably find out which part I'm gonna assign to this motor. I can easily go to my part tab here and use the device selection tab, which is filter the entire database that I have and give me only motor parts. So if I go ahead into my device selection, you can see that EPLAN gives me 3 part motors. And these, not the only parts that's in my part database, these are the only motor parts that's in my part database. And usually engineers are very good and memorizing the part number because they use most of the time the same part again and again. So I'm going to go ahead and select this motor, for example. Yeah. Once I select this motor and I press apply, all the parts data that's associated with this part will get attached to this symbol. So all the voltage, the manufacturer data that's associated with this part will get applied into this symbol. Gonna press OK here, and you can see here's the data or the information that's in my motor. The more I put into this symbol, the more information will start displaying. I can make it a little bit more clear if I want. So if I go right here, yeah, and I don't need to duplicate these information, so easily I can just select one of these information instead of keeping one duplicated twice and so on. Now, this is the first method of designing with EPLAN, the most simple method of designing with EPLAN, which is designing by the symbol. Let's say I know exactly what's the part that I'm going to insert on my schematic. Yeah. In this case, I can easily open my part database. Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and use my filter. I create a small filter here just for this demo. Yeah. And let's say I know the exact part that I'm going to use for this design. I can easily drag and drop the part on my schematics. And you can see automatically EPLAN pick the correct symbol for this. Yeah, I don't have to go into my symbol library and search for that symbol. I could just go ahead and drag and drop the part and the symbol will come with it. Yeah, as soon as I hover across from that motor, you can see that the connection is generating or get activated automatically. Yeah. Once I am satisfied with the position across from that motor, I can just go ahead and place it. And you can see even if I move it around, these lines will get updated or these connection will get updated automatically. Yeah. So the most important thing is to keep them on a same level. That's if you want to maintain a straight line. If you want to change the direction, let's say this is a little bit below, you can use these T nodes or these angles to reroute the connection to make it connect to this motor overload. So here, just back to my point, here we designed by the device because I knew the part number that I'm going to place in this. And as you can see right here, all the parts data comes automatically. Yeah. So if you can see the part number stored right here, and you can see a picture of that device, all the information that comes from the manufacturer itself. Yeah, so I'm 100% sure that these information are correct. And when I generate my bill of material, I know that this device will be in my bill of material and with the correct information. Now, before I move to the third step or the third way of designing with EPLAN, I want you to take a look for a second right here. Yeah. When I hover over the connection, you can see that EPLAN gives me the source and the target for each connection. Yeah. And if I take you a step back, we assign a part number here and here. So what I'm doing at this moment, yeah, this is the question. Yes, I'm designing. However, EPLAN in the background doing tons of things for me. One of these things is building my connection report with a source and a target. Even the pen that it's attached to. So if I go to this one, it's connected to pin number 2. On the other side, it's connected to pin U1. So EPLAN, I'm doing one thing, and EPLAN in the background is doing tons of things. Also, EPLAN is building my bill of material. We assign part to these symbols, so it's doing my bill of materials in the background. So this is the benefits of having all your project as one database. Now, let's continue building on this circuit. So I'm going to use the third way of designing with EPLAN. The third way of designing with EPLAN will be designing by macros or predefined circuits. So here I'm going to go ahead and place a phase power rail. Yeah. And I can, in the same macro, I can store several variations. So if I click the tab key, you can see I'm rotating between the two variants that this macro has. So I'm going to go ahead and select this variant. And once I click XY, EPLAN knows exactly where to enter this macro. Once I press OK to complete my action, you can see here automatically EPLAN generate these green text. So what is these green text? These green text is telling me that this power is coming from somewhere. So when I hold the control key and click on it, yeah, you can see that it took me to this page that tells me that the power rail that I just inserted, it's continuation of this connection. Yeah, same as here. When I click, I will go back to the page that we are creating together at the moment. Yeah, so I am showing you these things just to see the benefits of having the entire project database connected together. Now, once I'm satisfied with the power rail, I can easily connect it. Okay, I can easily connect it to the power rail just by dragging some T nodes. You can see easily placed, easily designed. Not so much effort to manage a connection here. Yeah, I'm going to continue building on this circuit by inserting more of this. Oops, sorry, wrong button. Right here. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do a power drop. And just like before, I'm going to use my X and Y. Yeah, and I'm going to ask EPLAN to number my devices based on the position that it's placed in. So you can see now that this device is numbered based on the position. So this is placed on 6410, and you can see the 6410 got adopted here. I can go back and put a motor with a fan, just like so. And the devices are numbered automatically. And I'm going to put a transformer right below it. You can see all these devices get numbered automatically except for these contacts. The reason these contacts not numbered yet, because they are not the main device. So it's waiting on the coil, the host of that, these contacts, so it can get associated with it and adopt the device tag of the main device. A quick example of that will be if I open another page here, for example. You can see here's my PLC page. I'm going to go ahead and place this coil just with the same method that we did before. Okay, and I can just easily drag some connection from here, place them right here. You can see that this coil now placed on my schematics. I can go ahead easily find my device navigator, which is, it's telling me where this device is located. You can see that the coil right here has several contacts that belongs to it. Yeah. Now these are available for me because I just placed my coil and they are available to be used. All I have to do is just drag and drop these just like so. I want to do them in a straight line. Just like so. And you can see that these, just make a screen bigger. Yeah, you can see that these get a cross-reference too. So it's telling me where are the main devices located and what they are part of which part. Yeah, and on the other side, of course, if I click right here, you can see the cross-reference for each contact on its own. So here I could go ahead and click on it. It's located 6405. Okay. All right. Continue building on this screen. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and place more of the predefined circuits. Yeah. However, in this circuit, I want to show the power technology of macros. Here I have a circuit of a motor that carries several variants of the same motor circuit. Yeah. So with the same circuit, I have up to 26 different variants, and each variant has different categories or values for the entire circuit. So here I'm going to place this circuit, and EPLAN automatically asking me what is the horsepower of this motor. So for example, I'm going to put a 10 horsepower for this one. Yes, number my devices. I can place the second one right here and say 25 horsepower, just to show you the difference between them. I'm going to place the third one here and put a 75 horsepower. And here, based on the horsepower of this motor, my entire circuit is getting updates. So if you take a look right here, this is a 10 horsepower motor. Yeah, the gauge of the wire is different. Yeah, and also the fuse right here is different as well. So here at 25 horsepower, it's 50 amp fuse. Yeah, with 8 gauge wire or cable. Excuse me. And here as well, so 10 horsepower with a 20 amp fuse. Let's say I made a mistake and this is not a 10 horsepower motor. I can easily right click and say assign a value set and just change that and say this is a 15 horsepower, and the entire circuit will get updated. This is the power of macro technology. You can customize your circuits however you want and eliminate tons of work and eliminate mistakes. All right, I will continue on this. You can see one schematics page took me less than 5 minutes to draw it all. You can see all the connections between my my schematics here, yeah, and not just the schematics, even the device itself right here, I can see the connections between them, yeah. So I'm 100% that I'm not missing or adding parts that don't need to be in my project or forget to delete. All these stuff is eliminated. Okay, now let's say I placed my circuits. My circuit is perfect. I need to number my wires. Yeah, I can go ahead easily and select a circuit or a page or entire project and go project data, connection, numbering, place. Just placing more of these connection definition points. I can select my circuit again and say connection enter designation. And you can see now that EPLAN numbering all your connection based on your standard. Yeah, based on your settings, based on your schemes, however you like to number them, EPLAN will do it for you. You can see here, this is the value what it was before, and now it will adopt the new number that's coming from your settings. You can, if you want, you can change that right now, or just leave it the way it is and press OK. You can see that each wire has, each wire has its own number. I've seen a question in the chat. Okay, is there a pre-built macro database to pull macros into a project? So we can, EPLAN, when you install EPLAN, we can provide you with some of the macros. So something like this to look at it and see how is it designed, what is the data behind it, and how it was configured. Yeah, every company is different, and EPLAN is a very wide platform. Yeah. We won't be able to make circuits for every individual companies. Yeah. So the macro is something that you design specifically for your company. So you are going to design a circuit anyway. Yeah. When you design your project or schematics, you will design your circuit anyway. It will be very easy once you complete your design. You have 100% sure, you are 100% sure that this circuit is perfect, and you think you're going to use it again. All you have to do is just select the circuit, yeah, just like so. Right-click and create window macro, symbol macro. Once you do that, yeah, you can see here, you can specify the variant of this macro. You could tell it to be stored in your database. So I'm going to go ahead and call it this maybe XYZ, for example, and I'm going to put it in my, yeah, this is fine. I'm going to put it right here. Once I press OK, that's it. My macro is saved. You can see XYZ now is available for me. And here's all, here's the circuit, everything that I selected, even the connections. It was selected. You can see that this one is stored. I'm going to put it on the side right here so you can just see it. Yeah. And of course, all the configuration is stored with it. Yeah. So it's very easy. What it's gonna take time to build this macro database, yeah, but you design in your circuit anyway. Why not make a use of it for next time? So this is a very easy software to work with. It's not very complicated, yeah, and it will work very hand by hand with you to be more efficient. Okay, perfect.
Hey, Narelle, there is one other question. It says, please cover terminals. I have a hard time tracking the designation I have already used and often end up using the same terminal multiple times.
Okay, sure, no problem. I will do that. This question is, these things is very easy to solve in ePlan. Yeah, so here, if you take a look, I have terminals. So the best thing or the magic about ePlan, everything or most of the things that we have in ePlan has its own terminal. So you can easily target it and see how it's acting into your project. Yeah, you can easily look at the terminal strip navigator. Yeah, and select any terminals you have on your schematics and say synchronize selection. Now watch the magic. Automatically ePlan open that terminal strip for you in the navigator. You can see how is this terminal is acting in your project. If the designation, for example, if I double click on this terminal, which is what we opened, yeah, if the designation is not what you want, yeah, you can easily select that terminal and say number terminals, yeah, and set up your own designation to achieve the goal that you're looking for. Also, if you take a look at maybe if I have, we'll give it a shot. I will open this one just to see. You can see if I open my edit in table window, I can see all my terminals. I can jump my terminals, yeah, without even showing it on the schematics. I can show it on my schematics, or if I don't want to show it on my schematics, I can do that as well. I can jump my terminals. Now these two terminals are jumped together, yeah. I can keep track of my terminals, where they are connected. Of course, this table is also modified, so you can add more information into this table or delete information from that table. It's up to you. Yeah, but here the information that's available for us at this moment, and you can see all the terminals right here with no issues. Yeah, you can also your designation right here as well number it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just show you a quick one. I'm gonna start with value number 1 and increment as simple as that. Yeah, you can see right now it's 1, 2, 3. The PE is remained unchanged. That's because when I number it, I say PE do not modify, leave it the way it is. Yeah, if I say number it, it will go under that. Yeah, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way to 12. Yeah, and you can also say I want to number them page-based, like sorting, cable based, all these good stuff. That's all depends on your settings. I'm going to cancel. I don't want to save my action. Yeah, and this is how easy you can manage your terminals in ePlan. And of course, these things is the terminal subject is very, very wild. It will not be covered during this demo session, but ePlan offers many trainings. So we have the basic trainings, and we have a class specifically for terminal where we go over multi-level terminals, terminals with settle jumpers, all these good stuff. ePlan will back you up with trainings and consulting to be more efficient. And once you are satisfied with the circuit or the way the terminal looks, just like I mentioned, it's as simple as selecting the circuit, right click, create a window macro, just like we did a minute ago. Okay, all right, let's continue. Now, I'm done with my design. Let's say I am completed with my design, and it's time for me to harvest all this good work that I put into my project. If you remember at the beginning when I said ePlan is doing tons of things in the background. Yes, you're designing a circuit, but ePlan in the background is building your connection list, your bill of material, all this good stuff. Now, there's two ways you can see reports in EPLAN. One, when you generate it within the project. The other one, when you export these reports as a PDF or export it as an Excel file. So the first one we're going to go over is generating reports within EPLAN. So I can go Utilities Report Generate, and here's the list of reports that EPLAN can generate. Yeah, you can see tons of reports available for you. So for example, PLC addresses overview, PLC cards overview. This is a very important report that customers ask for this because it will help them a lot for the when they troubleshoot or build in their cabinets. Terminals connection diagram, terminal strip overview, or maybe connection list or cable overview, connection list or cable overview, summarize part list, which is the bill of material. Yeah, all these good stuff, it's available for you. Now, for this specific project, I only picked these specific reports. So I don't want to overcrowd my project. I wanted to make it as simple as possible so you can see the result easier. So I'm going to select my project and click the gear and watch the magic. Yeah. Just take a couple of seconds to run through the entire project, and that's it. Once I close this window, you probably notice that EPLAN added some more sections here. We're going to go one by one with these sections. Yeah, so if I double click on any of these bill of materials, for example, you can see the part number, the order number, the quantity of that part, the description. Even if there's a picture associated with this device, EPLAN will show it to you. Manufacturers, and if there's a link attached to that, if there's a link attached to that part, you can see now when I clicked on the link, it took me to the part itself. Yeah, this is all these information. It's up to you if you want to show it. So these reports are fully customized. You don't have to stick with this. But when you install EPLAN, yeah, EPLAN gives you tons of forms. Like you can look at it and see if you like it or no, or probably add some modification to it. Yeah, so in this specific form, it shows the part number and the order number, the quantity description, and so. Yeah, this is in the bill of material. So this is the entire bill of material list for the project. Yeah, now here's the cable reports. We have a cable overview. Yeah, which just shows me every cable and the length of each cable, and cable diagrams. Here we specifically targeted each cable, how many conductors in each cable. So let me pick a good one. They're all good, but I want to make sure that we get one that's have more informations. Yeah, that's of course depends on the part that you assign to the cable. Yeah, here you can see the source and the target for each cable. You can see here if the end attachment to that cable, the color of that cable. Yeah, and here you can see the cable device tag showing of that cable. Yeah, if I click on this cable, of course, it takes me to where this cable is placed on my schematics, so I can see all my connections. Yeah. Okay. Now let's get to to the terminal reports. So we have two types of reports here. Terminal strip overview. You can see all the terminal strip that's in your project, and a terminal diagram where each terminal specifically on its own. You can see also. I'm going to show it has more details. So for example, like this one, yeah, you can see if there is a text surrounding that or function text surrounding that the terminal. You can see the target designation. If these terminals are jumped together, or if there's two terminals that's jumped together, you can see the jumper on your report. You can also look where this terminal is placed on your schematics as well. Yeah, just like we did with the cable. Now, one of my favorite reports is the wire list. So the wire list here, it's individually showing you each wire or each connection that's in your schematics with the source. If I zoom in just so you can get a better view of this, yeah, the source and the target for each connection, the length of this connection, the color of this, the number, and the end termination of this connection. So imagine instead of going through a 10,000 page project to build a cabinet, you have this connection list where it's telling you exactly where this wire is going to do, exactly what's the gauge of this wire, and the length of this wire. And you can just one by one go in from the source to the target and build in your panel easily. One last thing I want to show you, or before we end the session, when we were looking at the cables, or when we were looking at the schematics that we built together, we saw the connections between the devices. And for example, if you remember this coil right here, we saw the connection between this coil and its children, or the contact that belongs into this coil, right? So this applies on the entire project of EPLAN. So if you take a look at the top right here, we probably didn't go through all of this, but I will go through it with you. You can see all my schematics, my fluid diagrams, my PNID, all is in one project, yeah? And all these PNID symbols are, or loops, connected somehow. If there's a sensor or a valve, it's connected somehow to the fluid diagrams or to the electrical drawings. So for example, if I take a look at cable topology, which is representing the entire system here, I can see a proximity switch or a motor right here, and that motor takes me to where is it located into my schematics. So I can design my entire system into EPLAN, and that representation will be showing me the schematics and the overview of that symbol or that part. Here I can see the system overview page, yeah, and I can click and see, for example, this is a proximity switch that's located here. Yeah, I can click on that proximity switch and easily see how is it wired in my electrical drawing. Yeah, so the entire project data will be stored as one database in one project. So you don't have to keep opening file again and again. All of that is stored in one project. Another thing is your 3D representation also is included into your project. So if I go ahead here and open my 3D navigator, you can see my hydraulic flow system, and I can see my main control panel. I can open my main control panel just like so. Yeah, take a look at my control panel, move it around and see what's inside it. And of course, I can show my my mounting panel, I look at these devices that's in my mounting panel. So if I have a device here, I can highlight that device and click the F key on my keyboard, and it will take me to my schematics and tell me where's this device is wired in my schematics. Yeah, I can look at my control panel as a whole and see if all my components is fitting in one cabinet or no, or if I need more adjustment, or maybe I need a smaller control panel or a bigger control panel. Yeah, this is all done with ProPanel. With the next session, my colleagues, he will go over ProPanel and what's benefits of ProPanel. Yeah, and he will show you the connection between ProPanel and P8 and what type of data we can export out of ProPanel. Also, before I end this session, out of these 3D representation, I can extract my 2D. Yeah, here I can see the 2D representation of my control panel, and this is generated automatically. You don't have to put any efforts in it. You can see here the drilling pattern, and here I can see my control panel with the enclosure legend. You can see the bubbles for each device and the description. I really don't want to show you how I can generate these automatically because I want you to go ahead and join my colleague's session for later, and he will show you tons of things that ePlan Pro Panel could do for you. You can go and help about, and you can, help content, yeah. And here you can see that ePlan open the help file for you, and you can type in anything in the search field, and ePlan will filter that for you. You can see the news of ePlan, an overview of ePlan, and here it's very well divided in sections. Here, the common functionality that ePlan, here's ProPanel functionality, specifically for ProPanel, Fluid, pre-planning, and ePlan View. Not least, I will go over on how to export reports out of ePlan. Now, we saw the generation of ePlan reports inside the project. Now, how can, if I'm interested to see a bill of material as an Excel file, how can I do that? Is it easy with ePlan? Which type of information I can see or view in the Excel file? I can easily do that by selecting the project or a page or a section. Yeah, go into utilities, manufacturing data, export labeling, and here I can see that this is a settings that it's stored for me. I can say I need a bill of material or a connection list if there is any, or a cable diagram. It's up to you, whatever you want to export. Yeah, but this time is one at a time. We can't generate the entire report sections in once. So now I'm just gonna do the bill of material as once, and I'm gonna say export and start application. And you can see here, I can see the name of the project on the top, and you can see the properties here: part number, order number, total amount, number of units, manufacturer name, and designation, which is a short description. Yeah, here's all my part number, order number. So sometimes the part number or the number that you send to the manufacturer is different than the part number that you use in ePlan. And here's the total amount, the manufacturer name, and the designation. And all these information is stored in your database, and it only filtered the one that's used in your project. Yeah. Now the question is, how is these part came into your part database or came into your project at the first place, right? So this is a, do you create them yourself, or how is that happening? Yeah, I will let my colleague Jennifer answer this question, and I will go ahead and demonstrate it. Go ahead, Jennifer.
So then this is where you would want to go ahead and launch the ePlan data portal, and which is embedded already into our software. So as Narelle says, then you can, once you're registered as a user, then you can manually, then you can search with, for either, there's different ways that you can search parts, or you can, if you know the manufacturer that you're looking for specifically, then you can go down to find the manufacturer name, and then you can go ahead and click on a manufacturer. So which one did, okay, we're going to choose Allen Bradley. And then you would scroll down to the product family that you're looking for. And in this case, you're talking about the circuit breaker, right? And then you go ahead and click on it. And then it gives you all the information that is available for this particular component. So if you go down to the features, you're going to see that this particular manufacturer is offering what we like to say different data depths. So we have commercial data, we have 2D information, and then we have a connection point or a function template, from what I can see on there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yep. And then you're able to click this and then add it into your parts database if you would like to use it. So again, this is directly embedded into the our software. So this is really another unique feature that sets us apart from other people out, other types of software out there. Is that, again, we work directly, that's the master data team works directly with our manufacturers to gather this information and compile it already as complete data sets, so then that you're able to then click and download it directly already into your project here. And you can import it directly as Narelle is showing. So again, this is a great benefit, again, to show that it saves time, not having to go and search. Really, that's the idea of the data portal, so that you can find and not have to search for product information and component information.
And all you have to do is import this once into your internal library or internal database, and then you can use it as many times as you want. So you don't have to go into the data portal and import this part every time you want to use it. You can, but this is the more efficient way is to import it once, and it will live into your internal part library as long as you want it, unless you go ahead and delete it. Yeah. And this is the benefit of having the data portal. The data portal, just like my colleague Jennifer said, all the parts on the data portal, the manufacturer, the mother manufacturer of these parts are the one who maintain these parts. They are the one who check these parts, put these data into these parts, design the macro of these parts, the 3D graphic of this part. So you are 100% sure that most of these information are correct because they are coming from the manufacturer. You can also rate the part. So if you see something that's abnormal of this part, you can rate this part, and you can send your rating to the manufacturer, and I'm going to rate it as excellent or remove my rating, and I can send reports to that manufacturer and say, hey, can you check this? This information is not available, or maybe it needs to be modified or something. Or if you see a manufacturer or a part that should be on the data portal and it's not on the data portal, my colleague Jennifer is the account manager for the data portal. She's responsible for that. You can send her an email and she will communicate with that manufacturer to see if they can add these parts to the data portal.
I hope you enjoyed the demo. Be sure to stop by our ePlan Experience booth at the Rockwell Automation Fair at home.
Everyone, and welcome to the Rockwell Virtual Automation Fair 2020. My name is Jennifer Payne. I'm the Business Sales Manager for Master Data, and I hope you're enjoying your time today at this virtual fair. There are so many great things about working for ePlan. My favorite is probably being part of a global team and being able to interact with colleagues not only from the US, but from Germany, Poland, Italy, Brazil, and Mexico. I love having the privilege of working with so many different cultures and wonderful people.
Hello everybody, my name is Ahmad Omari. I'm a Business Exploration Manager here at ePlan USA. My favorite part about working at ePlan is the energy. ePlan is a very lively place with all sorts of innovation happening across almost every facet of the organization. We think this is because of you, our customers, our prospects, our partners, and this is all of the energy that you bring to us that make this place such a great place to work. Thank you for that. I know it's been a challenging year. I hope you guys are enjoying the fair. I'm sure there's a lot of really great content coming up from Rockwell Automation and Rockwell Automation's partners. We hope you visit us at the ePlan booth, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.
Hi there. My name is Paul McAdams. I'm Senior Account Manager for ePlan USA, and thanks for coming by to our booth. My experience with ePlan has been exceptional. The one thing I found really interesting about ePlan compared to other software solutions I've been involved in, it changes the paradigm from traditional drawing to actually using data. What's really amazing to me is, and when I work with customers, how that data can actually be used to enhance the manufacturing. Let me give you an example. The data that comes from design can actually be used to improve the wiring of a panel. It's done with instructions, not reading schematics. That in itself can possibly lead to a significant savings in the area of panel wiring, which is about 60% of the total cost of manufacturing panel. The other thing I found interesting about ePlan software, again, because it's database driven, you can actually use this in your pre-sales role. In other words, you use the data, not recreate the data, and shorten the time period to which you can actually create a price quote to a customer and iterate. And as we know today, it's all about speed and accuracy to get the job done correctly the first time. So with that, hey, enjoy your time here. Ask a lot of questions. That's what we're here for, and we look forward to seeing you. Take care. Bye.
Hello, my name is Debbie Raimundo, and I am the marketing lead for ePlan USA. One of the great things about working at ePlan is all of the incredible, smart and talented people that I get to work with every day, even if it's just remotely right now, include not only here in the US, but globally as well. And it's really cool to be able to bounce ideas off of each other, learn best practices, as well as hear some really great customer stories worldwide. So anyway, have a great Rockwell Automation Fair at home, and be sure to stop by the ePlan booth. See you later.
Hola, buen día. Mi nombre es Viridiana Blanco. Soy gerente de marketing para ePlan Hispanoamérica. Estoy muy contenta de participar en Rockwell Automation Fair at Home y que también ustedes estén aquí con nosotros. Para ePlan es muy importante la colaboración no solo a nivel local, sino a nivel internacional. Y la participación en eventos como este, pues es un claro ejemplo de ello. Les comento que vamos a estar en el stand de ePlan de forma virtual También pueden acceder al chat para cualquier pregunta o duda que tengan, colocarla ahí y estaremos atendiéndola. Les deseo un gran evento y bienvenidos nuevamente.
Sean O'Brien. I'm sales manager at ePlan USA, representing the Eastern United States, and I'm based in the Detroit, Michigan office. Been with ePlan almost a year now. And what impressed me most about ePlan when I joined is the amount of experience that we have on our team here. I mean, we have some really, really experienced, seasoned individuals, and at times it seems like we're almost a consulting organization and not a software organization. And we're able to really have deep discussions with our customers, and sometimes it seems like we know as much or more about our customers' business than they do sometimes. So I think that's really cool and really unique about ePlan. Things that people might not know about us is that, you know, a lot of our expertise is, you know, we kind of divide it up based on the industry that our customers are in. So whether the customer is in automotive or shipbuilding or building technology, you know, we have at a global level and a local level, we have teams of experts that you know are focused on that industry and can speak intelligently to it. So it's, you know, we get very, very specific in our areas of expertise. I thought that was pretty cool. I would recommend that our customers check out the cloud engineering area. Cloud and cloud engineering is something that we are devoting a lot of our resources to and a lot of our R&D spend on, and it's something that, you know, obviously we see as part of the future for the industry. So, you know, there's a lot of cool things in there, and it's very easy to get started, whether you're an ePlan user or not. And you know, there's things in there for collaboration and automation, and you know, I just think that's very interesting. Be sure to check that out when you're there. Thanks for visiting the ePlan booth. Hope it was interesting and worthwhile.
Hi, my name is Roger. I've been with ePlan for almost a year now, and I am an account manager for Ohio and Kentucky. What I have seen at ePlan that makes this job really fun is that when I call up a customer, whether it's somebody I've known for a while or somebody brand new to me, they're anxious to hear how we can help them improve their engineering efficiency. That makes my job a lot easier and a lot more fun when somebody actually wants to talk to you instead of just they think you're trying to sell them a product. So that's been great for me. When I met all the people in the office in Schaumburg, I was really warmly greeted. They were excited to have somebody new building business for us and just a different face in the organization. And it's been really fun to work with all these people because we've even had some Friday happy hours virtually, and it's really been fun to get to know everybody. During this virtual world of business, one thing I've learned is that people are a little more down to earth and informal. And that's actually been kind of fun. You see people's dog running, you know, you hear dogs, or you see the kid run by in the video, or you see personal things behind people like here. And that's actually been kind of fun. It helps people open up and be a little more relaxed. One of the things that I've seen in ePlan is we have support engineers, consultants, and salespeople all throughout the country. And what I've learned is that it doesn't matter where they're located. Our support has been just as good with a consultant in Texas and an engineer in Oregon, or somebody here in our local office in the Detroit area. It doesn't matter. We're getting the same level of support for customers, and they're very happy with that so far. I would suggest initially checking out the Watch ePlan Live, because that's where you're going to see some of our consultants and engineers actually showing you how to do things and how ePlan works. And that'll give you probably your best exposure to what ePlan is all about, how it can help you. All right, well, thanks for visiting the ePlan booth, and we hope you really have getting a lot of knowledge from this, and come back to us for any help you need and additional information.
Hey, I'm Johnny Wilson. I work for ePlan USA. I'm based out of Seattle. My favorite part for working for ePlan is that I get to work with new customers with having new challenges every single day. And it's great discussing their problems and delivering a solution that is custom and bespoke to that customer in particular. The biggest benefit from working with ePlan is I get to take away manual and laborious tasks away from the engineer, and he can focus on better tasks in his engineering.
Hi, I'm Joanna Pruden, and I just wanted to share a little bit about my experience with ePlan. So one of the greatest parts about working with ePlan is that we help all different types of customers. So we aren't tied to just one industry, so therefore neither am I. I spend a lot of time in front of my customers in their factories, in their shops, and getting to learn about every industry pretty much in the world. So we are a very hands-on company. We audit your processes. So the trade-off for that is that I see something new every day. It's always something different. And I interface with people from all different walks of life doing all different things. And it's pretty great. So for me, the best part I think that our customers benefit from comes from my background. I spent about 12 years in the process industry. And repeatedly, I would deal with the challenges of a customer referencing a drawing that had been updated in the field, but not updated in the records. Or a customer was trying to swap out an instrumentation piece in the field, and that piece is obsolete or doesn't fit into the enclosure or some version of that challenge. And inevitably, the documents don't match what's in the field, always. Even if parts of the documentation package is updated, not everything is. With ePlan, it's seamless to update a part. If you update a BOM, the drawing's automatically updated. It works hand in hand to where those challenges are gone. And what's done in the field is updated once, and every part of that document is updated. It's time-stamped. You know when it was changed. If you do have to replace a part, the data portal gives you a drop-down menu of what parts are drop-in replacements. You can easily match up the specs right in the data portal. So those maintenance issues are no longer challenges just to find out what's there. It really does become a guided design process versus just a document with a drawing.
Engineering is going through a real revolution. Cloud computing, the Internet of Things, and data integration have a huge impact on industrial production systems. An efficient exchange of digital data between the different engineering phases is necessary to prevent disruption. If you want to work efficiently, you must think in an integrated way. That starts in the concept phase. Thanks to the digitization and modularization of engineering data, you can immediately start with conceptual design. This smart customization ensures substantial time savings, better estimable offers, and sharper delivery times. Smart engineering stands for a smart connection of electrical, mechanical, and software data. Thanks to one virtual prototype, everyone speaks the same language. It opens the door to smart production. The digital twin with 3D info and other smart data ensures smooth communication between man and machine. The better and more accessible information is built up in the concept, engineering and production phases, the less time you'll lose later on in case of downtime. You can also store everything in the cloud, so everyone has direct access to the right digital data at any given time. It's crystal clear. Working in an integrated way creates added value, shortens the lead time of your projects, and reduces downtime in case of a breakdown. This way you create a great added value for your product. Do you want to know how you can do this? The different solutions within the ePlan platform support you towards an integrated engineering and production process. Your digital transformation with ePlan.
The ePlan platform includes products that are tailored to provide efficiencies in design and engineering of electrical and automation projects. ePlan has always been the tool that allows electrical engineers to excel and outperform the competition. Although ePlan may be part of your vision, you need to know for sure that it's going to work and that you'll be able to show your team. The ePlan guided trial team of experts can help you with this task. This test drive of sorts is not only free, but it includes a real project plan with guidance and support from an ePlan certified consultant. So what are you waiting for? Your journey starts here. info.eplanusa.com/guided-trial.
Hola, buen día. Muchas gracias por participar en esta conferencia. Mi nombre es Viridiana Blanco y soy gerente de marketing para ePlan Hispanoamérica. A continuación, le voy a ceder la palabra a mis compañeros, el ingeniero Juan Carlos Garza, quien está a cargo de la gerencia de soporte técnico en ePlan Hispanoamérica, y el ingeniero Carlos Hernández, quien es gerente de cuenta para toda la zona norte de México. Ellos estarán hablando en esta conferencia sobre cómo nuestras soluciones en ePlan ayudan a nuestros clientes a incrementar su eficiencia y, por consiguiente, la productividad en sus negocios. Vamos a mostrar algunas de las metodologías que utilizamos para ello y cómo en este proceso, paso a paso, les vamos guiando en todo este camino para incrementar su productividad. Nuevamente, muchas gracias y recuerden que también estaremos respondiendo todas sus dudas en los chats. Bienvenidos.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Primeramente es un gusto saludarlos, esperando que haya sido productivo su día y las presentaciones en las cuales han estado ingresando. Mi nombre es Juan Carlos Garza, soy el gerente técnico de EPLAN y bueno, pues el día de hoy vamos a hablar o cerrar este ciclo de conferencias acerca de las soluciones de EPLAN orientadas para incrementar la productividad. Perfecto, muy bien. Bueno, voy a empezar yo en base pues, a la presentación. Posteriormente mi compañero el ingeniero Carlos Hernández va a continuar y bueno, va a cerrar el ingeniero Luis Olvera. Bueno, como lo han estado viendo durante todo este ciclo de conferencias, pues en este caso nosotros hemos tratado de darles un mensaje en el cual queremos mostrar cómo EPLAN puede ser una solución no solamente de un software de diseño de ingeniería, sino como un proveedor de soluciones en los diferentes tipos de industria, como por ejemplo puede ser en la parte de alimentos y bebidas, en la parte de las CCMs o arranques de motores, también cómo podemos hacer integración con lo que son diferentes software, también, bueno, obviamente la parte del configurador, de los accesorios, más sin embargo, también tenemos otras integraciones también con diferentes compañías para lo que es soluciones de PLCs o ERPs. Al igual, mostramos cómo pueden ustedes generar unas cotizaciones de manera rápida en base a lo que es la planeación que ustedes hacen desde la parte de las necesidades del cliente. Y bueno, algunos otros datos en el cual mostramos que nuestro software no solamente es un software de dibujo, sino también de planeación y de integración. De esta manera, pues bueno, mostramos la facilidad en la cual, en la cual podemos generar. Más sin embargo, bueno, hay un punto muy importante en el cual tenemos que tomar en consideración, sobre todo lo que es la metodología de trabajo. Para poder llegar a esos niveles, pues se tiene que tener una metodología de trabajo correcta y lo primero, antes que todo, tenemos que saber distinguir los puntos primordiales para poder hacer una buena selección de soluciones, ¿no? Bueno, básicamente, ¿cuáles son los retos de la ingeniería? Obviamente, bueno, esta es una imagen en la cual podemos mostrar o podemos definir cómo es nuestro actual método de trabajo, en la cual, bueno, la mayoría de los clientes no puedo generalizar, más sin embargo, la mayoría de los clientes, cuando tienen lo que es un proyecto, bueno, realmente hacen lo que es una inversión importante de tiempo y esfuerzo en hacer ingenierías individuales. Ahorita vamos a explicar un poco acerca de esta parte y tienen tal vez una pequeño porcentaje de lo que son sus librerías estandarizadas. ¿Qué significa esto? Que tal vez ustedes como compañías ya tienen ciertas, digamos lo que soluciones en las cuales haces un copy-paste, pero son copy-paste básicos. Tienen que invertirle mucho tiempo para que ustedes puedan modificar y, bueno, configurar la información como con respecto a los datos que generan. Entonces aquí tenemos dos elementos en los cuales se define como ITO y CTO. Básicamente la ITO es ingeniería individual y CTO estandarizada. Vamos a definir un poco lo que es cada uno, ¿no? Bueno, lo que es el ITO es un tipo de proceso de manufactura en el cual, bueno, el producto es diseñado y finalizado después de la orden recibida. O sea, básicamente es ingeniería que yo estoy haciendo al momento de que yo tengo una requisición. En ingeniería de detalle en la cual yo voy a hacer una requisición. ¿Ok? Y el CTO, pues bueno, es una ingeniería en la cual, un tipo de híbrido en la cual ya está identificada en ciertas funciones y puedo seguir reutilizando. Entonces, la idea en este caso es que se disminuya lo más posible la ingeniería individual y utilicemos más lo que es la parte de la ingeniería estandarizada. Por obvias razones, nunca vamos a dejar de tener ingenierías individuales porque, bueno, cada proyecto es diferente y hay que hacer modificaciones. Más sin embargo, la tendencia es que tratemos de estandarizar lo más posible mediante ciertas metodologías y que el sitio sea pues la mayor cantidad de peso y obviamente entre mayor inversión de ingeniería estandarizada tenemos, el tiempo pues va a reducirse de manera considerable. Y eso nos va a ayudar a ser más efectivos y, bueno, obviamente también nos va a generar un ahorro de tiempo y de costos en la parte del proceso. Una vez teniendo esta información, identificando cuáles son los objetivos desde el punto de vista de ingeniería, bueno, podemos definir cuál es el flujo de de la orden, en la cual, bueno, básicamente es muy típico desde el punto de vista del tiempo del ciclo de vida de un proyecto. ¿Qué es lo que hacemos como primer paso? Obviamente el cliente aquí nos hace los requerimientos, en el cual pues, nos generan ciertas órdenes. Ya pueden ser órdenes preconfiguradas o estandarizadas que nosotros tenemos, o algunos requerimientos especiales también. Esto básicamente recibimos la orden del cliente con todos los requerimientos y con las órdenes de trabajo. Recibimos la orden dentro de nuestra compañía, pues la orden que la recibe lo puede manejar un ERP interno o un cierto departamento en específico, en el cual toma la información de las órdenes. Como es una cotización, pues mucha de la información ya está predefinida, bueno, sobre todo de los equipos principales, y podemos tener una prelista de los artículos que ya están definidos desde el requerimiento. También qué módulos vamos qué módulos vamos a requerir y qué opciones debe tener este proyecto en base a las órdenes, y qué variantes también debemos de generar. Pero realmente esta es información como general de cómo va a ser el proyecto, y bueno, es una información textual. Teniendo esta información, el siguiente paso es que el departamento de ingeniería, no sé si lo ven aquí, está en gris, internamente, ¿qué es lo que hace? Recoge la información de la orden, y bueno, tenemos varios departamentos que trabajan en sincronía para poder llegar a la tarea. Es la parte mecánica, la parte de fluidos y la parte eléctrica. Empezamos a revisar dentro de las diferentes órdenes que tenemos, qué es lo que podemos reutilizar para poder disminuir ciertos tiempos. Es lo que conocemos el CTO o la configuración de la orden, en la cual ya tenemos ciertos componentes predefinidos, ciertas opciones predefinidas y ciertas variantes predefinidas. Teniendo esta información, pues bueno, ya tenemos el 80% de nuestro bill of material. En este caso podemos generarlo. Si en dado caso hay información que no está dentro de nuestra preconfiguración, pues tenemos que hacer lo que es la ingeniería. Ojo, no se confundan aquí que dice la terminología de ingeniería, que es el departamento de ingeniería, sino que tienen que desarrollar por primera vez, en este caso, pues la documentación eléctrica o mecánica, dependiendo de la información. Ya en esta parte, pues, se hace lo que es el ITO o la ingeniería to order, como lo habíamos visto previamente, y ya de aquí sacamos las nuevas construcciones, los nuevos procesos y los nuevos artículos que no se encontraban desde lo que es la preconfiguración o desde lo que es las librerías que contamos en este caso. Tenemos lo que es el bill of material, hacemos lo que es la conjunción de bill of material, además que, bueno, como somos un proyecto global, pues también tenemos que generar lo que es la información de la ingeniería de la manufactura, en la cual podemos, mediante algunas herramientas, hacer el digital twin de lo que es el armario, cómo va a quedar. Podemos generar los reportes de manufactura en cuestiones de conexiones, de las vistas 2D, de cómo van a colocar los equipos, de las vistas de perforaciones. Todos estos elementos, pues bueno, son generados en esta parte, en el departamento de ingeniería. Como nuevamente les comento, la tendencia es que el 80% en este caso sea información configurable, y solamente un 20% pues invertimos en desarrollar nuevas tecnologías, ¿no? Ya tenemos lo que es la parte de la manufactura. Hacemos la manufactura del armario con la información que nos provee ingeniería. Hacemos un ensamble o preensamble. Ya podemos tal vez hacer un ensamble final donde conjuntamos la parte de los armarios con lo que es la parte mecánica. Finalmente hacemos el comisionamiento y la operación. Entonces, ese es el ciclo de vida que tenemos que hacer. Vamos a tocar un poco acerca de esta parte, ya que, bueno, en ocasiones esta es la parte medular y el punto de conexión entre las diferentes áreas, la parte de ingeniería. Bueno, para poder trabajar de manera efectiva en lo que es la parte de ingeniería, pues tenemos ciertos assessment. Nosotros como compañía global, bueno, hemos tenido experiencias con miles de usuarios, ya que somos una compañía global, que tenemos más de 35 años de experiencia. Creamos una metodología para definir cuál es el nivel de eficiencia de los departamentos, tanto de ingeniería como de manufactura. Hay tres tipos de análisis. Uno en base a lo que es el uso del software. Obviamente el objetivo de ahí solamente es mejorar el tiempo de los diseñadores. Mas, sin embargo, hay otros dos puntos importantes en la cual hacemos un análisis completo del departamento de ingeniería, desde que se recibe lo que es la orden de especificación, donde se hace el desarrollo, donde se genera el bill of material, la ingeniería, los diseños, la revisión, reportes y bueno, se hace el 2D, ¿no? Perdón, el 3D de los equipos. O también podemos hacer assessment del negocio completo, donde, bueno, ingeniería es un eslabón más de toda una cadena de valor. Entonces, aquí lo que hacemos es que tratamos de revisar cuáles son los procesos internos de ingeniería mediante lo que es una clasificación. Y hacemos una metodología de trabajo en la cual nosotros, en base a ciertas preguntas, podemos ver cuáles son el nivel de conocimiento o de uso de los software. No necesariamente tiene que ser de EPLAN, en la cual hacemos preguntas generales de los procesos actuales, no solamente en cuestiones de dibujo, sino cómo reciben cierta información, cómo transfieren las informaciones, si manejan algún estándar, si manejan algunas plantillas, etcétera, etcétera. Y bueno, hacemos esta información general y nos da una tabla de eficiencia. En este caso, esta tabla de eficiencia viene categorizada por 5 niveles, en la cual podemos detectar en qué nivel están bueno, cada compañía en particular en base a sus procesos, y podemos detectar, por ejemplo, que del nivel 1 al 2, pues realmente es digámoslo que un proceso de ingeniería muy básico, en la cual, bueno, hacen un diseño que no está ligado a artículos, trabajan de manera manual, hacen solamente el copy-paste, y bueno, obviamente la eficiencia es muy baja. Si pasan a un siguiente nivel, en la cual ya usan plantillas, usan algunos artículos, hacen lo que es la tecnología de macros, y bueno, trabajan de manera más organizada, pues va a aumentar lo que es la eficiencia. Si se conjunta toda la parte del punto intermedio, pero además le meten tecnología de macros y algunas interfaces, pues obviamente el tiempo se va a reducir. Y bueno, hay algunas otras integraciones con RPs y otras configuraciones, ¿no? Ese es el nivel o la clasificación que podemos nosotros como solución de servicios identificar. Pues se preguntarán, ¿para qué es importante esto? En base a esta tabla, nosotros podemos proponer cuál es la meta de eficiencia, y además, bueno, con cierta información que ustedes nos pueden proveer. Obviamente esta información es confidencial, aquí es un ejemplo, no es un proyecto, no es información de algún cliente, en la cual, bueno, básicamente nos dice cuántos usuarios son los que trabajan en la compañía, en el diseño, cuánto es el promedio de hora, cuántos proyectos tienen por el año, la cantidad de hojas, cuánto tiempo invierten en hacer lo que son la parte de diseño de ingeniería. Podemos hacer una prospección de cuánto es lo que estás gastando en este momento, y cuánto es el porcentaje de eficiencia, y cuánto es lo que gastarías en este caso, en caso de haber estado en este punto, y te da lo que es un retorno de inversión de los elementos, ¿no? Además que no solamente nos enfocamos en la parte del retorno de inversión, que es importante, cuánto dinero ahorras, sino también te podemos hacer una gráfica en la cual podemos detectar cuál es tu situación actual, dónde inviertes más tiempo, y bueno, en base a nuestras soluciones de servicios, cuánto tiempo es el tiempo que puedes reducir, ¿no? Y bueno, obviamente todo esto es una justificante. Una vez teniendo la parte de ingeniería, pues bueno, ya nos podemos enfocar también a lo que es un assessment de lo que es la compañía completa, en la cual, bueno, ya ve ciertos factores externos. Una vez teniendo la información ya bien generada en la parte del ICAT, en la cual puedes hacer las integraciones con los software mecánicos, por ejemplo Creo, con algún PDM, bueno, también puede ser con algún ERP. Como diseño eléctrico, pues en este caso puedes también tener la comunicación con lo que son PLCs, donde puedan también generar la parte de manufactura de los armarios, tanto internos como externos. Aquí lo que hacemos es una big picture, una vez que tenemos bien definido o bien desarrollado nuestro departamento de ingeniería y detectamos cuáles son los flujos automáticos en el cual no tienen ningún problema, pero vamos detectando cuáles son el flujo que es manual, donde son los cuellos de botella y donde existe la mayor cantidad de errores debido a que no hay una comunicación transparente de estos datos, ¿no? Teniendo una vez esta información, pues bueno, ya podemos apoyarlos mediante lo que es la metodología de Plan Experience, en la cual, bueno, básicamente son 8 campos de acción, donde tocamos los puntos desde lo más básico, desde saber la infraestructura que deben de tener para que las máquinas, para que los software puedan trabajar de manera correcta, no solamente la parte eléctrica, sino tal vez si ustedes tienen un software mecánico, pues también se debe considerar esta parte. De qué manera tiene que estar centralizada la información para que pueda haber una comunicación dentro de lo que son los usuarios. Y bueno, obviamente antes de empezar con lo que es la parte de la ingeniería, pues tenemos que definir un estándar, en qué estándar vamos a trabajar internacional para poder seguir ciertas reglas y lineamientos desde lo que son los cajetines, la simbología, la numeración, la nomenclatura, todo en base a normativas internacionales y una vez teniendo las normativas ya podemos empezar a estructurar nuestro proyecto creando subdivisiones, obviamente siempre respaldando de los estándares, pero ya enfocados a tareas puntuales de nuestra compañía. Y bueno, ya teniendo estas estructuraciones, ya podemos empezar con lo que son la metodología de diseños. Podemos detectar cuáles son los flujos de trabajo en la cual podemos integrar, ya empezar a integrar otros componentes u otros software que no sean netamente de eléctricos, sino que a lo mejor en este caso ustedes reciben la información de la parte mecánica a la parte eléctrica o la parte eléctrica le envíen la parte de programación y poder ir detectando de qué manera podemos hacer integración con estos otros disciplinas para poder hacer más rápido lo que es un proyecto. Y bueno, obviamente finalmente tenemos que tener un project manager para que pueda hacer una asignación de tareas y también lo que son tiempos. Esto es, bueno, esto es digamos lo que la base de las soluciones. ¿Cuáles son las estrategias? Pues bueno, mediante lo que son consultorías, mediante lo que son también, obviamente, la parte de los software que vamos a seleccionar, eléctrico, mecánico, de programación, de lo que son manufactura. Se tiene que hacer una implementación y bueno, el soporte global es importante para poder sacar más rápido pues las dudas que tenemos, ¿no? Y una vez teniendo esto, pues podemos tener una visión general o total de una solución. Una vez teniendo estas soluciones, pues bueno, ya podemos hacer una detección del Big Picture. En este caso habíamos detectado cuáles son los cuellos de botella y bueno, mediante los assessment podemos hacer una planeación de inversión de software, de soluciones, por ejemplo, de ingenierías típicas, estructuraciones, plantillas de proyecto, de qué manera se pueden integrar, por ejemplo, con los PLCs, ¿ok? Y bueno, igual con los PDMs, RPs, y mandar esta información en la parte de manufactura. Y bueno, Carlos, no sé si gustas continuar en esta parte.
Sí, gracias, Juan. ¿Puedes ceder los derechos, por favor?
Sí, claro que sí.
Listo. Gracias. Ok, perfecto. Bueno, continuando con lo que mencionaba Juan, este es, digamos, un vistazo de lo que podemos nosotros llegar a poder implementar con la solución de EPLAN. Es un vistazo general de dónde estamos posicionados, qué es lo que podemos nosotros ayudarles en implementar la solución de EPLAN. Ustedes ven aquí, por ejemplo, lo que está pintado en color rojo son las soluciones de EPLAN. Dentro de estas soluciones de EPLAN puede ser ingenierías conceptuales, hay módulos específicos para ingenierías de fluidos, por ejemplo, hidráulica, neumática, obviamente la parte eléctrica, ingeniería de control, potencia, va dentro de esta parte. También está una solución enfocada a la parte de los gabinetes, cómo va a quedar en 3D físicamente mi proyecto. Es decir, esta información es meramente de las soluciones, digamos, ya propiamente del software, ¿no? Desde el concepto hasta la parte de la manufactura. Entonces, todo esto también nos va a originar pues listas de materiales, documentos que van a servir para otros departamentos. Como pueden ver aquí en esta filmina, no nada más es para el departamento de ingeniería, sino esto va a impactar en diferentes rubros de departamentos. También incluso desde ventas, desde que se hace la propuesta del proyecto como tal, desde aquí del configurador, como para los que pudieron asistir a las presentaciones anteriores, podemos hacer las configuraciones previas de un proyecto, ya teniendo las especificaciones de ese proyecto que me está pidiendo mi cliente, ¿no? Entonces, desde la área comercial, pasando por ingenierías de detalle, ingenierías básicas, ingenierías para la parte de la manufactura, pues toda esta información va ahora sí a ser distribuida, ya sea para el área de ensamble, para el área de manufactura, para el área de compras, etcétera, para el programador, incluso que ustedes ven aquí abajo, que también podemos comunicarnos con la parte de los programas, del software, por ejemplo, de PLCs, podemos comunicarnos con softwares también para con el corte de los cables, con máquinas de CNCs, con impresoras para mandar a imprimir todo automáticamente. Entonces, esta información sirve para tenerlo a la mano, ¿no? Aparte también lo mecánico es importante también tenerlo en mente, toda la parte de la coordinación y diferentes softwares que nos ayudan a administrar los recursos, ¿no? Como pueden ser softwares RP, PDMs, como pueden ser SAP, Oracle, entre otros. Y la novedad ahorita es la parte de las soluciones en la nube, que a partir de la nube nosotros podemos empezar a desarrollar proyectos con las soluciones que ya manejan el software de EPLAN. Es decir, poder hacer las configuraciones de un proyecto nuevo o de un proyecto existente, si es un proyecto que ya está estandarizado, como lo mencionaba Juan Carlos, ETO, Engineer to Order, pues bueno, entonces esto ya lo podemos nosotros gestionar desde la nube. Es decir, con simples clics podemos hacer un proyecto completo de N número de hojas, ¿no? Pueden ser un proyecto de 200 hojas en cuestión de minutos. ¿Por qué? Porque ya tenemos el ETO, es decir, ya tenemos el estándar de nuestras ingenierías. Eso es importante y primordial conocer. Para lo que es nuevo, ahí es donde les toca hacer este tipo de soluciones. Por aquí el departamento de soporte ayuda para que puedan ustedes estandarizarse en los procesos. Es decir, van a contar con el soporte técnico, con los especialistas, con los consultores, para que les platiquen de su proyecto, si ustedes quieren estandarizar sus ingenierías que ya conocen, su ETO, es decir, todo lo que se puede estandarizar como algo repetitivo, como algo reutilizable. Eso lo podemos nosotros tener visualizado dentro de nuestro proyecto y que el know-how se conserve en la compañía. Entonces, ya teniendo esta información, entre más el ETO esté dentro de la compañía, es decir, entre más estandarizada sea nuestra ingeniería, que simplemente con checkmarks me ayude a configurar mi proyecto, pues más eficiente va a ser el tiempo de entrega, más eficiente va a ser la entrega de los proyectos, más eficiente va a ser el ensamble también, porque ya, si ustedes ven la documentación que genera, también es de etiquetado, que ustedes ven al lado derecho, etiquetado, información de diagramas, información de listas de cableado, de listas de perforación, y esta información también les ayuda para la gente de ensamble para que puedan hacer sus tableros, sus máquinas, sus líneas de producción de una manera más eficiente y a través de la nube, ¿no? Ahora también, algo importante es de que desde la nube también podemos nosotros tener acceso o darle acceso más bien al proyecto a los distintos usuarios finales. Entonces, esta información también la pueden obtener desde la nube y desde aquí pueden ellos empezar a ver su proyecto. Ya no es nada más imprime en PDF o imprime las hojas de mi proyecto, ¿no? Sino que ahora desde la nube podemos visualizar nuestro proyecto, agregar comentarios, dar un mantenimiento óptimo a nuestros diagramas. Tal vez a lo mejor soy integrador, firmo alguna póliza de mantenimiento para que mi cliente final ahora ya se asegure y le aseguremos de que siempre van a estar actualizados nuestros diagramas eléctricos, siempre van a estar actualizados el proyecto e incluso también poder tener un lazo con el usuario final para cualquier cambio o modificación que exista en el diagrama posterior a la entrega ya sea mucho más eficiente. Entonces, para todo esto, como podrán ver, no por sí solo el software no lo va a hacer, ¿no? No lo va a hacer. Ustedes, por eso es que nosotros recomendamos ampliamente tener el soporte de nuestros especialistas, quienes son los expertos que nos pueden ayudar a saber cómo está su proceso internamente. El primer paso es conocer su proceso, ¿no? Entonces, es como si hiciéramos un diagnóstico primeramente de sus procesos, cómo están actualmente, cómo les gustaría estar, qué información es la que desean ustedes estandarizar, qué es lo que quieren mejorar. Nos platican sus cuellos de botella y empezamos a hacer un plan que que sea funcional para ustedes. Cada plan es diferente en cada compañía. Unos están más preocupados a lo mejor por los tiempos de entrega, otros están preocupados por entregar propuestas en tiempo récord, otros a lo mejor quieren mejorar la calidad de la documentación al momento del ensamble. Es decir, cada uno tiene sus propios retos, ¿no? Entonces, platicamos con ustedes para que nos digan qué es lo que ustedes quisieran mejorar y en qué les podemos ayudar, porque tenemos un plan específico para cada uno de sus proyectos. Aparte del entrenamiento que es vital también para conocer el producto, el software, hay paquetes de consultoría, que son los que ven a continuación, que pueden ser escalables, es decir, por etapas. Es decir, no es nada más el software, tomo el curso y ya yo voy a empezar a hacer el proyecto. Pueden empezar a hacerlo, pero la curva de aprendizaje va a ser más prolongada. A que si nosotros hacemos un paquete que incluya entrenamiento de los módulos que ustedes hayan seleccionado y luego aparte un plan de capacitación, un plan de consultoría que vaya orientado al estándar, a generar los CTOs, a generar todo lo que sea reutilizable para evitar tiempos muertos, para evitar retrabajos o evitar alguna falla al final del proyecto. Entonces, eso nos ayuda también para estandarizarnos y para que el know-how se conserve en la compañía. Entonces, es completamente modularizado. Hay 3 niveles. Está el nivel básico, en donde los temas se imparten sobre la base del software, es decir, cómo hacer más eficiente la parte del software, cómo empezar a automatizar poco a poco de estos niveles. En la etapa 2, pues bueno, ya se hablan de los temas un poco más orientados a la productividad, de cómo quiero, qué tan rápido quiero hacer mi ingeniería o cómo lo puedo hacer para ser más eficiente, ¿no? Y el nivel 3 es, bueno, ya cuando se hace la elaboración de los datos del cliente, qué es lo que se puede respaldar, qué necesito, es decir, ya se hace un plan a la medida, ¿no? Por ejemplo, aquí ustedes tienen alguna práctica que nosotros recomendamos, que es desde la iniciación del proyecto, ustedes nos platican, se hace el análisis previamente con ustedes, nos platicamos de su proyecto hoy en día, cómo se entrega, nos muestran incluso un proyecto que ustedes hagan, nosotros analizamos y tomamos nota. Básicamente es el primer paso, tomar nota de lo que hacen actualmente y ya en una segunda reunión vamos viendo cómo poder implementarlo. Preparamos un plan en donde les entregamos un PDF, un entregable, en el cual les decimos, mira, este va a ser el plan que nosotros detectamos de acuerdo al diagnóstico que hicimos o el assessment que hicimos previamente, ¿no? Esto nos va a garantizar que nos ajustemos a la medida y que nos ajustemos a lo que ustedes están buscando implementar. No los dejamos solos para que ustedes hagan el estándar, sino que están siempre de la mano con nuestros especialistas para que cuenten con ellos en todo momento durante el servicio de mantenimiento que ustedes tengan activos. Y bueno, las consultorías también son por separado, se hace un plan a la medida, ¿no? Se tocan temas desde el ambiente de trabajo, ambiente de proyecto, cómo configurar las ingenierías típicas. Si ustedes detectan que algo se puede configurar, nos platican y nos dicen, mira, estos son mis diagramas, normalmente es lo que yo utilizo, quiero que me lo configures para que sea reutilizable, que sea ITO y que cada vez menos sea ingeniería individual, ¿no? Porque cuando hay ingeniería individual, pues no es lo mismo que si ponemos a hacer un proyecto, a pesar de que sea el mismo al ingeniero 1 o al ingeniero 2, porque cada uno lo va a hacer a su manera, cada uno tiene su propio estándar, cada uno tiene sus normas, su propia manera de cablear, su propia manera de etiquetar, a lo mejor utiliza una simbología que no es la del estándar. Entonces eso lo que va haciendo es de que vayan surgiendo distintas normas, distintos estándares dentro de una compañía incluso. Y lo que buscamos es que exista un estándar de la plantilla que sea reutilizable, que digamos, esta es la norma europea y esta es la norma americana. Quiero que la plantilla norma americana tenga esta estructura, que tenga este método, que esté desglosada y organizada de tal manera que sea mucho más fácil la lectura para mi cliente, que tenga lo de potencia arriba, lo de control, que tenga los tableros y cada uno de los tableros me dé la documentación de información técnica, de información de librerías, de información de listas de materiales, de etiquetados, de perforaciones, etc. Ese tipo de detalles que son personalizados, esos reportes se platican también en el assessment para que nosotros hagamos ese tipo de reportes. Incluso podemos tomar el proyecto completo, que nos digan, quiero que me hagas ese estándar y ya les entregamos una plantilla ya hecha, ya con todas las configuraciones, ya con todo lo predefinido, para que ustedes nada más tengan que empezar a arrastrar y soltar los nuevos componentes para su tablero, ¿no? Entonces, eso también lo podemos hacer. Y este es parte de un ejemplo que hicimos con un cliente, en el cual le definimos las etapas. Aquí ustedes ven en color rojo lo que nos correspondía a nosotros hacer y lo que le correspondía al cliente hacer al final de la entrega, ¿no? El primer paso, como ya mencionamos, era definir el estándar, definir el assessment, creación de las ingenierías típicas, y el cliente, bueno, ya se iba a encargar de utilizarlo dentro de la compañía. Se hizo un proyecto piloto y, bueno, al final también lo que acordamos con este cliente final es de que se iba a estandarizar con sus proveedores también. Así es como nosotros hemos estado entrando con las distintas empresas que son integradoras, perdón, que son usuarios finales, OEMs, para que a sus integradores les pidan en formato EPLAN. Esto para que también el usuario final tenga el beneficio de que van a estar estandarizadas sus ingenierías independientemente del integrador que le toque, sino que ya especificamos el estándar con el cliente final y el cliente final dice, quiero quiero que sea mi estándar, esta va a ser la versión, así quiero que me entregue la ingeniería. ¿Por qué? Porque así garantiza que cualquier proyecto que ellos reciban de sus miles de proveedores sean siempre estandarizados y ellos tengan la facilidad de leer todo lo que constituye el proyecto y que no cada uno lo haga a su manera, sino que tenga una estructura en el proyecto, ¿no? Que tenga una nomenclatura, que tenga un estándar. Entonces eso se les comparte a los proveedores y ellos empiezan a hacer ingeniería. Entonces eso es una etapa también de estandarización. Y eso se puede hacer tanto como empresas grandes, como usuarios finales, o también se puede hacer dentro de empresas de integradoras o casas de ingeniería que ustedes digan, quiero tener dos estándares, uno norteamericano, uno europeo, y que dentro de esos estándares ya venga mi proceso bien definido para que yo entregue a mi cliente de esta manera, ¿no? Nos acoplamos a lo que, nos adaptamos a lo que ustedes nos piden como estándar, y lo plasmamos en el software. La idea aquí es que de su conocimiento lo vaciemos en el software y ahora sí el software por sí solo empiece a hacer todo automáticamente, todo lo referente al diseño de manera más eficiente, sin errores, que sea más reutilizable y que lo puedan visualizar distintos departamentos. Entonces eso básicamente es parte de lo que hacemos. Esta es la organización en cuanto en este proyecto, en este ejemplo de proyecto, y quién participó en este proyecto de estandarización. Y bueno, ahorita en este momento ya se concretó uno más de los que tenemos y así es como hemos estado haciendo para poder estandarizar nuestros procesos con nuestros clientes finales y también con nuestros integradores, ¿verdad? Entonces, básicamente esto es lo que tenemos preparado, un plan de implementación. Como podrán ver, por sí solo el software pues tiene mil y un funciones, ¿no? Lo importante aquí es dedicarle el tiempo para que pueda ser realmente utilizable, reutilizable, que pueda sacarle el mayor provecho, porque ¿qué pasa cuando nada más se adquiere el software y nada más se adquiere el curso básico y dejamos ahí al cliente que haga su propio estándar y empieza a lo mejor a meterle mano a otro ingeniero y empezamos a mezclar información y se empieza a desviar el tema principal del software, que es estandarizar las ingenierías? Entonces, eso es vital para poder sacarle el mayor jugo al software. La inversión que ustedes hicieron inicialmente es propiamente de la herramienta, pero digamos, nosotros recomendamos que se tenga un plan adecuado con cada uno de ustedes. Si ustedes están abiertos a que podamos entablar una charla, que nos platiquen su proyecto, que nos platiquen de qué es lo que ustedes quisieran mejorar, podemos hacer un plan de implementación para que vean a qué nivel puede llegar la parte del ahorro de los tiempos, la parte del ahorro de los costos. Incluso estamos considerando ahorros de hasta un 80% en cuanto a tiempos de diseño y tiempos de ensamble, ya en conjunto, y aparte del valor agregado que le damos al cliente con la información que ya hay en la nube, ¿no? Entonces, de esta manera hacemos más productiva la información. Y bueno, básicamente es lo que tenemos preparado en este momento, que sepan que existe un plan de implementación, que existen los expertos, que está bien respaldado con nuestros especialistas aquí en México y en Latinoamérica. Juan Carlos como líder de la parte de servicios, a su cargo están distintos consultores que les pueden apoyar para ello, ¿no?
Muchas gracias a todos y bueno, espero que tengan una buena tarde.
Gracias nuevamente, que tengan buena tarde.
Muchas gracias por su participación el día de hoy. Esperamos que esta conferencia haya sido de gran valor para ustedes. Recuerden que estaremos disponibles en los chats para responder cualquier duda o pregunta que pueda surgir y les invitamos nuevamente a pasarse por el stand de EPLAN para revisar todo el contenido que tenemos preparado. Gracias y que tengan excelente evento.
eBuild is the latest cloud-based solution of ePulse, which is available to all users of ePlan Electric P8 or Fluid from version 2.8 onwards. With eBuild you have access to predefined libraries and you can generate complete schematics with just a few clicks. The easy-to-use interface and the selection of options takes you directly to the complete schematics. ePlan enables guided engineering. eBuild is for free, easy to use, it increases your quality, it saves time and it reduces your errors. Once you have registered for ePulse, you can enter eBuild directly through the ePlan Electric P8 or Fluid user interface. eBuild supports you in your daily work and helps you to get more time for the exciting engineering tasks. Just give it a try.
Hey, I'm Johnny Wilson with ePlan USA, and today let's go through the top 5 questions that were submitted to the ePlan Solution Center in July 2020. Number 5, I cannot find my alignable accessory in my parts database. So I'm going to add some alignable accessories to this terminal strip here. So I'm going to select this terminal strip in the terminal navigator here. So let's go to right click and go to edit. And if I select the terminal I want to edit and go to add alignable accessory, I can see I've got 3 different accessories I can select from. The part number I am wanting to look for is this EBJ16, and as you can see it is not being found in this alignable accessory list. So this is because a property has not been enabled to tell ePlan to use this as an alignable accessory. So to do this, we can go to our parts management. So go to utilities, parts, and then management. I'm just going to look for the part. So this is this EBG16. And if I go to properties, if I check this alignable box here, click apply and then close, it's going to ask me to synchronize the parts database. I'm going to hit yes. So now when I go to edit the terminal strip and add the alignable accessory, you'll see I'm going to have this EBJ16 here. So I'm going to click OK. And as you can see, the accessory has now been aligned, and I can move the position up and down depending where the accessory needs to be placed. Number 4, I've assigned a part to a cable, but the conductors are no longer in the correct order. How do I correct this? I'm going to assign a part number to this cable, so let's go to right click and go properties, and then use the device selection, and I'm going to use this cable here. As we can see, we have 4 conductors in total with numbers 1 through 3 and then a green and yellow for the ground. I'm going to assign the cable using this arrow. As I can see, all the functions have been assigned. I'm going to click OK, and let's hit apply, and let's hit OK. As you can see, the numbers for the conductors of the cable have been assigned to each wire, but it looks like it's ordered them incorrectly. So why is this? If we have a look at the terminal strip that this cable is connected to, we can see it goes 1 through 4 in the numbering scheme, but let's take a closer look. So if we look at this terminal strip, we can see the order of it goes 1, 3, 2, and then 4. So let's correct that by going to right click and edit. And what we can do is sort the terminal strip based on numeric values here. And then we can hit apply. And now to update the cable, what we can do is go to the cable navigator. And then we can right click on our cable and go to assign cable connections and reassign all. Once we do this, we get the correct sequence of conductors. Number 3, how do we create a title page and how do we edit that title page? So first I'm going to create a title page by going to utilities, reports, and then generate. I'm going to use this new button here, and then I'm going to select title page / cover sheet. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to use this drop down here to browse for the title page I want to use. So this is the form we're going to be using. Let's hit open, and let's click OK. And page name 1 will work for this. Let's hit OK. And then once we've done that, we can use this generate report button here. So once I've done that, I now have a title page. So to edit this, what we can do is go to utilities, master data, form, and then open. What I want to do is use the form that I selected earlier and click open. And what I can do is start editing this form. So to replace this image, I can go to insert, graphic, and image file, and I'm going to look for a new image here. So I'm going to use this EPLAN USA image. I'm going to copy it over, and I'm just going to place it here. Click OK. I'm going to get rid of the old one. And now when I close this form, it's going to ask me to synchronize. So I hit yes. And now you can see it's automatically updated my form to be this new image. Number 2, we find a part that's not in our database. How do we create it on the fly? So let's go to insert and then symbol. And I want to use this fuse holder here. Click OK. I'm going to place it here. And then when I look at the symbol and function data, as you can see, we're using this particular symbol and it has been assigned a safety fuse as the definition. So let's go to the parts tab and give it a new part number. So I'm going to give it ESS for EPLAN Software and Services and call it this part number here and click OK. Once we've done that, we can right click on the device and go to Generate Part. It's going to open our parts database where we can fill out all of the information we need for this part number. If we look at the function tab, you can see that it's adopted the function template that was assigned to the symbol. So let's press apply and close. We have now successfully created the part. So if I go to insert and device and I search for that part number, I can now insert it into my schematic. And as you can see, it's got the assigned parts data that I filled out earlier. So number one, if we download a part from the data portal and we do not like the macro, how do we quickly and efficiently edit that macro? So I'm going to download a part from the data portal. Just search for the part quickly. Use this button here to import it into our parts database. So I want to update anything that exists in my system and then close the data portal. I'm going to insert the part I just downloaded, so I can search for that IA16 here and then click OK. So when I'm placing it in my schematic, I can see that EPLAN is prompting me and telling me to use variant E. If I hit the tab key, I can cycle through all the different variants. So here's variant I, and then back to A, B, and then finally back to E. So if I don't want to use any of these variants, I can hit the backspace key and then select individual functions. So by doing this, it's going to look at all the individual functions that have been assigned to this particular part and then run through them as I place them. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm just going to draw my first point of this PLC box. So I'm just going to draw it out here, and then it's going to allow me to place all the PLC connection points here. So I'm going to quickly place them all. So once I've placed all the inputs, I can right click on the PLC box and go to synchronize selection. So looking in the device navigator, it's going to show me that all the PLC inputs have been placed on a multi-line. So what I can do is drag a box over everything and right click and create window macro. So I want to give this a name and I'm going to call it ESS_AB and then click OK. So now if I double click on this part, I'll go to properties, I can look at the part number here and use these three ellipses. We can navigate over to the technical data and we can look at the macro that was assigned to this part. So using these three ellipses, I'm going to use the new macro I created, as you can see here, and press open and click OK. So it's going to say, do you want to synchronize? Hit yes, and then click OK. So now when I insert the part again, it's going to be using the new macro I just assigned to it. So as you can see, I'm using variant A, and this is the only variant that is created right now.
Hi, my name is Roger. I've been with EPLAN for almost a year now, and I am an account manager for Ohio and Kentucky. What I have seen at EPLAN that makes this job really fun is that when I call up a customer, whether it's somebody I've known for a while or somebody brand new to me, they're anxious to hear how we can help them improve their engineering efficiency. That makes my job a lot easier and a lot more fun when somebody actually wants to talk to you instead of just they think you're trying to sell them a product. So that's been great for me. When I met all the people in the office in Schaumburg, I was really warmly greeted. They were excited to have somebody new building business for us and just a different face in the organization. And it's been really fun to work with all these people because we've even had some Friday happy hours virtually, and it's really been fun to get to know everybody. During this virtual world of business, one thing I've learned is that people are a little more down to earth and informal. And that's actually been kind of fun. You see people's dog running, you hear dogs, or you see the kid run by in the video, or you see personal things behind people like here. And that's actually been kind of fun. It helps people open up and be a little more relaxed. One of the things that I've seen in ePlan is we have support engineers, consultants, and salespeople all throughout the country. And what I've learned is that it doesn't matter where they're located. Our support has been just as good with a consultant in Texas and an engineer in Oregon, or somebody here in our local office in the Detroit area. It doesn't matter. We're getting the same level of support for customers, and they're very happy with that so far. I would suggest initially checking out the Watch ePlan Live, because that's where you're going to see some of our consultants and engineers actually showing you how to do things and how ePlan works. And that'll give you probably your best exposure to what ePlan is all about, how it can help you. All right, well, thanks for visiting the ePlan booth, and we hope you really have getting a lot of knowledge from this, and come back to us for any help you need and additional information.
Hey, I'm Johnny Wilson. I work for ePlan USA. I'm based out of Seattle. My favorite part for working for ePlan is that I get to work with new customers with having new challenges every single day. And it's great discussing their problems and delivering a solution that is custom and bespoke to that customer in particular. The coolest benefit from working with ePlan is I get to take away manual and laborious tasks away from the engineer, and he can focus on better tasks in his engineering.
Hi, I'm Joanna Pruden, and I just wanted to share a little bit about my experience with ePlan. So one of the greatest parts about working with ePlan is that we help all different types of customers. So we aren't tied to just one industry, so therefore neither am I. I spend a lot of time in front of my customers in their factories, in their shops, and getting to learn about every industry pretty much in the world. So we are a very hands-on company. We audit your processes. So the trade-off for that is that I see something new every day. It's always something different. And I interface with people from all different walks of life doing all different things. And it's pretty great. So for me, the best part I think that our customers benefit from comes from my background. I spent about 12 years in the process industry. And repeatedly, I would deal with the challenges of a customer referencing a drawing that had been updated in the field, but not updated in the records, or a customer was trying to swap out an instrumentation piece in the field, and that piece is obsolete or doesn't fit into the enclosure, or some version of that challenge. And inevitably, the documents don't match what's in the field, always. Even if parts of the documentation package is updated, not everything is. With ePlan, it's seamless to update a part. If you update a BOM, the drawing's automatically updated. It works hand in hand to where those challenges are gone, and what's done in the field is updated once, and every part of that document is updated. It's time-stamped. You know when it was changed. If you do have to replace a part, the data portal gives you a drop-down menu of what parts are drop-in replacements. You can easily match up the specs right in the data portal, so those maintenance issues are no longer challenges just to find out what's there. It really does become a guided design process versus just a document with a drawing.
Sean O'Brien. I'm sales manager at ePlan USA, representing the Eastern United States, and I'm based in the Detroit, Michigan office. Been with ePlan almost a year now. And what impressed me most about ePlan when I joined is the amount of experience that we have on our team here. I mean, we have some really, really experienced, seasoned individuals, and at times it seems like we're almost a consulting organization and not a software organization. And we're able to really have deep discussions with our customers, and sometimes it seems like we know as much or more about our customers' business than they do sometimes. So I think that's really cool and really unique about ePlan. Things that people might not know about us is that, you know, a lot of our expertise is, you know, we kind of divide it up based on the industry that our customers are in. So whether the customer is in automotive or shipbuilding or building technology, you know, we have at a global level and a local level, we have teams of experts that you know, are focused on that industry and can speak intelligently to it. So it's, you know, we get very, very specific in our areas of expertise. I thought that was pretty cool. I would recommend that customers check out the cloud engineering area. Cloud engineering is something that we are devoting a lot of our resources to and a lot of our R&D spend on, and it's something that, you know, obviously we see as part of the future for the industry. So, you know, there's a lot of cool things in there, and it's very easy to get started, whether you're an ePlan user or not. And you know, there's things in there for collaboration and automation, and you know, I just think that's very interesting. Be sure to check that out when you're there. Thanks for visiting the ePlan booth. Hope it was interesting and worthwhile.
Hello everybody, my name is Ahmad Omari. I'm a business exploration manager here at ePlan USA. My favorite part about working at ePlan is the energy. ePlan is a very lively place with all sorts of innovation happening across almost every facet of the organization. We think this is because of you, our customers, our prospects, our partners, and this is all of the energy that you bring to us that make this place such a great place to work. Thank you for that. I know it's been a challenging year. I hope you guys are enjoying the fair. I'm sure there's a lot of really, really great content coming up from Rockwell Automation and Rockwell Automation's partners. We hope you visit us at the ePlan booth, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.
Engineering is going through a real revolution. Cloud computing, the Internet of Things, and data integration have a huge impact on industrial production systems. An efficient exchange of digital data between the different engineering phases is necessary to prevent disruption. If you want to work efficiently, you must think in an integrated way. That starts in the concept phase. Thanks to the digitization and modularization of engineering data, you can immediately start with conceptual design. This smart customization ensures substantial time savings, better estimable offers, and sharper delivery times. Smart engineering stands for a smart connection of electrical, mechanical, and software data. Thanks to one virtual prototype, everyone speaks the same language. It opens the door to smart production. The digital twin with 3D info and other smart data ensures smooth communication between man and machine. The better and more accessible information is built up in the concept, engineering and production phases, the less time you'll lose later on in case of downtime. You can also store everything in the cloud, so everyone has direct access to the right digital data at any given time. It's crystal clear. Working in an integrated way creates added value, shortens the lead time of your projects, and reduces downtime in case of a breakdown. This way you create a great added value for your product. Do you want to know how you can do this? The different solutions within the ePlan platform support you towards an integrated engineering and production process. Your digital transformation with ePlan.